we were going to be in MGC5, which is a little bit bigger, but we had no capabilities of connecting to the screen, so it would have been up to all of you to look at everything, and that's not always conducive for a meeting like this. So everyone can just, yeah, we will. Yeah. Okay, so call to order. I will start with roll. Senator Hakami.
Here.
Senator Pintar.
Here.
Senator Hawk.
Here.
Senator Hanash.
Here.
Senator Dantzler.
Here.
Senator Burgess.
Here.
Senator Meacham. Senator Chen.
Here.
Senator Adams.
Here.
Senator Polinsky.
Here.
Senator Najafi.
Here.
Senator Koshman.
Here.
Senator Fryer.
Here.
Senator Kenna.
Here.
Senator Martin.
Here.
Senator Morrow.
Here.
Senator Mejia. Senator Zitzman.
Here.
Senator O'Connor.
Here.
Senator Nayar.
Here.
Senator Beaton. Senator Al-Jaber.
Here.
Senator Howard.
Here.
Senator Legitimacy.
Here.
Senator Agdepa.
Here.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Now that roll's been taken, y'all may hate me right now, but all senators, we're going to take a photo outside real quick. That way we can get the photographer out of the way. So.
Yeah, I did actually. I forgot it was supposed to be today. Looking good, Trevor.
It's my normal look.
I like your outfit too.
Hey, how are you? Yeah. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. Am I the last person? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I'll do it right now.
You'll say it right. Is that like what shape of blue?
I'll follow the direction of Laura. Follow the direction of Laura.
Yeah, we just changed to a can. It's true, right?
How's the note?
The note's good. I missed the table that was previously in the note, so I can actually see it.
Did you see the snow on Tuesday?
Did you see my tweet, Chris, about Nicki Minaj being gone for a month?
No.
She's been MIA, unseen, disappeared. 1 month.
Huh.
I don't know.
What are you trying to infer there?
That something's up. That you should be ready.
That I should be ready?
You, Chris Schneider, need to be ready for what's going to happen.
Well, I'm ready for a lot of things.
Cool.
No,
You ready? Yeah, you ready for the 4th album? That's the biggest thing.
Are you recording?
Yeah, but I'm not on schedule yet. I'm going to keep it real quick.
You're not on the bus.
Then challenge the motion to amend. Please object.
I can't.
You should get a huge fine. It would be live stream, so like you say.
This right now.
What the? It's it is. My cover's blown.
How many people are watching? One person is watching. Probably someone inside.
It was cute.
Maybe it was me. I don't know if it counts the person that's watching.
Chris, how do you choose font? Like, how do you do it from like
Which one?
ring to silence?
That's the side.
This one?
Wait, change the button? Yeah. It's totally.
It's not working though.
What are you doing? She doesn't know how to work her phone.
It's the same.
I know.
But it's not a move. It's not. Just gotta use it there, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, so her case had a weird thing where it doesn't actually turn.
Turns?
Yeah, see, like, look, it starts and moves the button. So, like, so now it's fine. And, like, it's and so now, this isn't right.
Obviously.
And this control from where? To control the volume. To control the volume, you have to go into control center. Do you know how to do it? Control center. Do you know how to switch to that? Yes. I didn't know this in the first couple days.
I don't know how to do it.
Did you know about this? Were you studying about
I know I can't put the freeze up.
I'm sure.
I'm using it. I do get myself.
It's my first YDA meeting in general. I was parliamentarian. And in particular, problem throughout the meeting in which there was the president of the Alabama delegation because the other president had been impeached. Like the other president was
That was a photo. Did you take a photo?
What?
That was just a photo.
I'm not in the Senate.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, she's one photo. Because I thought you were supposed to Hey, Sarah. Would you get in my placard?
Oh, I'm good.
You're still up. Yeah, it's not urgent.
Anyone else placards?
I'm good.
What?
Yes, I was.
Is that
having a photo bomb?
I don't think that's.
I'm real cool, like make your faces in the
Yeah, I was listening to staff. First was who to be. So I was like, assuming I was like, you like,
Yes, I didn't even see you there.
But yeah, Darby, that was like, you are just advocate. I just go to you raw. So it's like policy wise, like with the advocate, just like crushing the staff.
Is it all full, Chris?
I'm sitting on the
Oh, wait.
Yes, yes. There is. Yes, that's good.
I'll just stand awkwardly to the side. So I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll recommend it. But
When I was a sophomore, I
I'm going to stand awkwardly on the side. Claim your seat.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, thank you for all doing that. Now we can update our social media on that one. All right, moving to the adoption of the agenda. Any discussion on the agenda? Senator Burgess.
I want to add 2 things to the agenda.
Okay.
After Secretary Schneider, I would like to have Director Mascaro speak.
Okay.
And then for new business, I would like the resolution to applaud Taylor Dumpson to be added.
Okay. Any other discussion on the agenda?
Point of information.
Yes.
Do we have the resolution to applaud Taylor Thompson?
In about 30 seconds, you will. Any other discussion? All right. Without objection, the agenda will be adopted. There you go. Moving to the adoption of the minutes from the 5th meeting of the 13th Undergraduate Senate. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, without objection, they'll be adopted. Right. Moving on to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak at this time? Joyce, you are recognized.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and wonderful senators. Good afternoon, Acting President Jovic and the rest of the E-Board and all members of the public and other members of the AUSG who are here. We had a wonderful second week of classes and we're going to have a great 3rd, 4th, 5th week, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th week, I'm sure. And we have a lot of important legislation today that I want to speak on. I want to speak on 2 pieces of legislation in particular. Those are going to be Policy Book 1718-004 regarding the elections policy book, and Bill 1718-009, Bill to recognize and support the transgender community. First, I'm going to speak on the policy book. One of the great things about the Senate and any deliberative body is that it can do great work, and today is going to do great work. And it's also going to be faced with challenges and things that it needs to defeat to do that great work, to keep doing that great work. And 1718-004, the amendments to the policy book on elections, certainly is well intentioned. And actually does a lot of great stuff. It combats harassment in elections, it combats discriminatory action, but it also prohibits free speech, if you will. It is an affront to free expression on campus. Every person who pays the AUSG activity fee is a member of the American University student government. To prohibit members of the student government, and furthermore prohibit any student on this campus who this student government claims to represent, is hideous. So how does it do this? Well, effectively, the policy book amendments say that it seeks to resolve issues that arose during the 2017 election cycle. These issues were raised by JSIP Chair Josh Gutmaker, who has described the Senate as a piece of shit that doesn't do anything. little concerning, but sure. So we know that the person who said that there were these issues of organizations and individuals funneling money into elections as if there were billions of dollars going into Senate campaigns for student government. He's a cynic and he's a skeptic of how the student government actually works. So how does the policy book amendment purport to solve these issues? How does it purport to end the super PACs donating all this money into campaigns and, I don't know, making it a money game in elections, which of course we know we have empirical evidence that money doesn't affect student government elections at any student government in America. So first, section 3, subsection 2, candidates and campaigns may accept donations from persons, groups, and other entities not officially employed by or affiliated with candidates or campaigns. Sounds good, right? They can already do that, right? So let's look at what the current case is. If someone makes a monetary domain to a campaign or to a candidate, and they spend that money, they're going to include it in their expense statement. Because the expense statement is not about the money you have. It's not about the money you got. It doesn't matter if you are Charles Koch or, I'm trying to think about poor Charles. No matter how much money you have, your expense statement is going to start at 0. It's when you spend money that you start reaching about either $60 or $200 limit. However, all donations, financial, material, or otherwise, must be declared to the Elections Commission pursuant to subsection 1, subsection 3, subsection 5, subsection 6, and subsection 8. Donations are to be counted as part of total campaign spending and shall apply to the spending limits imposed upon campaigns in subsection 1. Isn't that a little weird? So not only are we now turning monetary donations into something automatically assumed to be spent, if you get a monetary donation, you better spend it because it's counting toward the amount of money you can spend in total. Not only that, but if you want to support your friend, if you want to donate supplies to your friend who's running for office, if you are a minority group on campus, if AU Pride doesn't have the resources or the people to field their own candidates, they cannot donate to a candidate who believes what they believe without effectively harming that candidate's campaign. That is fundamentally motivated in an ulterior way. So you think, I mean, sure, it's not prohibiting anyone from donating, but it's certainly encouraging you not to donate. It's certainly encouraging campaigns not to accept donations because it's ultimately going to hurt them. It's ultimately going to take control out of their hands in money that they could be spending when you have a limit on what you can spend. So that's pretty bad on principle on its own. But it definitely gets worse because now not only are you virtually prohibited from donating campaigns, you can't campaign on your own unless you work for them. Section 5, subsection 3 amendment, only candidates, campaigns, and individuals officially affiliated with campaigns may post campaign materials relating to any American university student government campaign. That is an affront to free speech, Mr. Speaker. That is an affront to free speech and free expression because I have a right and you have a right, whether or not you're a candidate, whether or not you work for a candidate, to support people who you believe in. The university is founded on the values of free expression. And the university's student government is founded on the ideas of representation. It is founded to be a student government that represents the people it purports to represent. And an election is driven by the constituents that are going to be voting. The context of the issues of an election should not be decided upon by candidates. They should be decided upon by the people who are going to be voting for the candidates. And if you can't campaign, if you can't make your voice heard about what you want to see from candidates, if you can't make your voice heard when you support what a candidate is doing, and you don't support what a candidate is doing, then what can you do? The limit and the extent of your involvement as a student, as a person going to be represented, is to go to the ballot box and vote, whether you like it or not. It's problematic, to say the least, but say we have no principles. Say we pass this bill, but then I repeat myself. Let's say the bill's passed and someone decides to put up a poster for a candidate they support because they don't have the resources to run themselves, so they want to support someone else. What is AUSG going to do about it? Well, we go to section 5, adjudication sanctions. They're going to remove and delete the materials. They're going to demand that this individual make a public letter of apology for expressing that they support a candidate. We're going to punish the campaign that they support by restricting their campaign finance allowance, and we're going to disqualify their candidate, and we're going to suspend their campaign activities. That's absurd. I can think of a way in which I can shut down a campaign just by pretending that I support them and posting materials for them. That's absurd. This bill has some parts that are well-intentioned, and that do great things, and has other parts that are well-intentioned and do terrible things that are fundamentally going to harm the democracy that we claim to represent. So I seriously oppose the amendment to the elections policy book, both on principle and what it's going to do in practice. And I really hope that the Senate opposes it. The second thing I would like to address.
Hold on, Joyce, before you move on, I would like to remind senators that during public comment, computers are supposed to be closed so that you are listening to the comments that are being made by the public. Thank you. You may continue.
The second thing I would like to address is Bill 1718-009, a bill to recognize and support the transgender community, which I understand Senator Kekami has sponsored, possibly someone else, I'm not sure. Anyway. 2014 was the year of the transgender tipping point. We have Laverne Cox and Janet Mock. And we made a lot of strides in progress for queer people. And on December 28th, 2014, a little shortly after midnight, my friend Leela Alpin stepped onto Interstate 71 and was hit by a truck and killed. And those of us who followed her blog saw her suicide note in the morning. Those of us in the community knew before this that there was violence against us and that a lot of us committed suicide. And it didn't stop just because she died. It kept happening. But a lot of us who were younger, who weren't around for Stonewall, who weren't around in the 90s, who weren't around in 2005, we didn't know someone who had suffered that. And a lot of us still don't. But I did know her. As well as you could know someone over the internet. And I'm coming to the Senate to talk about this, to say, and hear me out. If you look at it one way, it doesn't matter if you pass this. You can pass it or you can fail it. There's nothing you can do that's going to bring her back. She is always, as far as I'm concerned, in perpetuity going to be standing there, 1 foot on the highway, just waiting to be hit. And nothing you can do is going to change that. She's always going to be there. And I think there's another way you can look at it, though. And for a long time, I looked at it the first way. I looked at everything a student government or a real government could do that first way. There's nothing you can do. All the people who have died and all the people who are going to die, we may as well be fascists because there's nothing we can do to prevent that. But over a long time, I've gotten a lot of faith in what people can do when they come together and even just say something. And if passing this bill directly or indirectly, if just one really tiny step at one really tiny moment at one really tiny university in Northwest Washington, D.C. But if we could have one fewer body suspended above water for eternity waiting to hit, if we could have one fewer person standing up at the ceiling of a hospital like I was waiting to die, and if we could have one fewer little outpouring, then I think it will have been worth it. To take just a second and suspend our disbelief that we can't do anything, and to believe for a second that even if we play a role, no matter how small, maybe it'll do something. I'm gonna quote her. Just 3 words she said, and then I'm done. Fix society, please. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Joyce. Other members of the public wishing to speak? Iman.
Hey everybody, I'm Iman Khalidi. I'm a member of JSEP. I helped Yasmin and Saram with writing the elections policy book bill, so I'm here just to hopefully clear some things up about that and maybe create some more understanding of what exactly the bill does. So I want to first point out that one of the first things pointed out by Joyce was that trying to attribute the bill to Josh Geppenker, former chair, actually resigned. And I don't want to say discrediting the bill, but necessarily putting a bad name on the bill. This bill was largely the product of work of Yasmin, Saram, myself, Jacob DeGoes, Legislative Commissioner, and others. And so this was a very collaborative process. And to attribute it to one person whom the Senate is brought enough light, or I don't know, I want to speak for you guys. I think it's a little misleading. Now, with the claims inside the bill, I think the idea that it prohibits free speech is a little misguided. It doesn't say you can't do any of that, as was pointed out. It just asks that these donations be reported. I think, if anything, this actually serves to level the playing field and strengthen the abilities of groups such as AU Pride to contribute, because exactly, you're reporting spending, right? If you're giving campaign materials, it just means money you spend on your behalf. And it's not fair to campaigns. If every campaign can spend $60, then the campaigns that receive the support of outside groups have an additional, effectively unlimited spending cap. And that's what happened in this fall elections, which was exactly why this one was reported in the first place. And so, how do these donations by outside groups harm campaigns? That I was confused by. Especially, actually, I think it helps lower income students, for example, who can't afford to spend the $60. Now you can actually, within a regulatory framework, get money from other groups while still not necessarily unfairly passing or coming short of your fellow candidates. If it actually sets a ceiling of $60 for every single candidate, then how are campaigns unfair? How are campaigns harmed? That was a claim I didn't really understand personally. I imagine the Senate doesn't necessarily understand either. Now there was the comment about only campaigns, candidates, or people officially affiliated with those campaigns can post. That was an issue. And Senator Legitimacy is actually going to put forward an amendment to correct that. And I can read the amendment wording to you right now. So now it's going to be in subsection 3, the bill as put forward currently says only candidates, campaigns, and individuals officially affiliated with campaigns may post campaign materials relating to any American University student government campaign. Senator Legitimacy is going to amend to add with not affiliated with campaigns may only post campaign materials with the express verbal or written permission of a candidate, campaign, or individual officially affiliated with the campaign. So if a candidate or campaign says it gives you a poster, then you're being given permission to post it. You can put it on your door. It's yours to use as you wish. The idea is just to prevent, those posters that were put up about Senator McConnell during the last campaign from happening again by making sure that campaign-related materials are sanctioned or at least endorsed by campaigns. Sorry, I have notes. Now, there was a concern raised about online posts and talking to your friends that could be targeted. Earlier in the policy book, I don't have the exact section noted here because I was writing as being spoken. It actually refers to procuring campaign materials. So these regulations apply to campaign materials that are procured, implying that you have to obtain them or spend money to get them. So if you're just posting on Facebook and someone shares it, that's not regulated by the policy book, and it shouldn't be. That's free speech. Same with talking in person, talking to people, convincing them. Same thing. The only online post that I would see qualifying for procuring is if you're paying for a sponsored post. Because then you're procuring a service, which is advertising your campaign. And I mean, that's fair. You spend money. It should be reported. We're not saying don't do it. Just let the public and the student body know. And I think with a lot of the accountability and transparency pushes we've had, this only boosts that. So I hope with the amendment and additional amendments that are already put forward, this bill can pass and improve the elections process for the upcoming 2 elections we have this semester.
Thank you. Any questions for the JSEP member? All right. Any other members of the public wishing to speak at this time? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to reports from officers. First up is Interim President Machovic.
Hello, everyone. So essentially the way that I see my role as interim president is to fulfill the vision that Taylor has set. I cannot expect to in any way be as fantastic a president as Taylor was. She really dedicated all of her time and her efforts and her hard work to the organization. And I would hope that each and every one of you appreciate that and acknowledge that. Essentially, I just see myself as part of her vision for a different view. And hope that we can all strive to create that campus and continue our efforts.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Machovic? Senator Polinsky?
So there's going to be this election within 30 days. What happens after those 30 days? And we're going to get a new interim president. You're going to go back to the comptroller. What do you think that new president's role should be? Do you think they should continue to carry on ex-President Dumpson's legacy, or do you think they should have their new legacy? Because it seemed like the exec board has this bond, and an outside figure coming in could change that bond. So what do you think will happen after that election?
I think the next president following the special election, I think, should realistically realize that they have about realistically 1 month essentially of kind of overseeing the elections process during the month of March, and then the month of April transitioning to our or whoever our next normally elected president would be. So I think that to say that the next person should like create a platform or like envision anything new would be kind of counterintuitive, if that makes sense. Because this organization kind of has had set goals for this entire year kind of, and a trajectory. And I think anybody coming into this position after me should realize that like to do anything other than what we have aimed to do is semi-disruptive, if that makes sense.
Other questions? Senator Mejia.
I've heard lots of different things about who's acting or who's the acting comptroller, who has the ability, like the responsibilities currently the comptroller. I just wanted to clear up like who is currently the acting comptroller and who have the responsibilities of comptroller. With you, with Secretary Snyder, or party.
So I'm going to cover like structure and procedure in my report, if that makes sense.
Other questions? All right, seeing none, thank you. Moving on to Vice President Self.
Hi, everybody. I'll try to be brief. We have a lot to cover today. Just quick updates on like what my cabinet's been doing. KPU last week had a note to Jason Kander because a lot bigger than we expected. We get to add more chairs. It's really good. This is coming tomorrow, the 29th. Or I guess first of all, tonight, Sub's having a great response party within the CPU. Somewhere around here. I'm not on this floor. Then tomorrow, WI is having a Time's Up talking times up, talking about like the movement times up, all the kind of what it means and where it's going and about that. So very like topical subject. And then as we know last week, we announced the founder's location at the African History and Culture. So first I want to thank you all for supporting that. Like the director to Money Founders because we really need that. And so that's been met with some, I think, mixed reaction, but I think overall, generally people are like excited, positive, or like just kind of like waiting to see what happens. But like I still stand by my team and all the work they've been. I think it's gonna be a great event for the ball, but also all of Founders Week. So if you have any questions, we're open to answer those now.
Any questions for the Vice President? Seeing none, we'll move on to Secretary Schneider.
Hi, everyone. I spoke to some of you individually on Friday. I was around campus until around 2, so I tried to drop into Senate a couple times near your office. The last 48 to 72 hours have been difficult. It's a period of unexpected transition, as our statement said on Friday. But as our statement said, our top priority at this time is to continue working for the students of American University. And as Christine mentioned, her top priority as interim president is to continue to carry out work that was already in progress and to continue to work towards the stated goals of us as a new board that we set at the beginning of the year. I've spoken to a lot of you in person and over Facebook message, and it's been really, I'm grateful for the support that we've gotten. I think that I've been in this organization for almost 3 years now. Just seeing a lot of unity and support at this time I'm proud to be in this organization. In such a difficult time of transition, to see everybody kind of come together around us it's a good feeling. In terms of structure, Christine will be interim president for the next 30 days or 28 days. We are in communication with the elections commissioner to set a timeline for the special election as soon as possible. We're trying to have it completed by the beginning of Founders Week, so it doesn't interfere with Founders Week, which is the last week of February. If not, the bylaws have a provision to extend the period before special elections up to 60 days. So we're going to, or an additional 30 days for a total of 60 days. So if it doesn't look like we can have it done by Founders Week, we'll probably aim to have it pushed to the week after Founders Week. Christine delegated her responsibilities of the Office of Comptroller to me, so I'm not interim comptroller. I just am performing the duties of the comptroller. And yeah, we're thank you all for your support again. It's been difficult as a new board, and just as the people who have been here since, well, I've been here longer, but since May in these positions. We thank Taylor for her service, what she's done for the students of American University. As she said in her statement, she's done home. She's worked with the university administration on things that they haven't been open to talking about before, and kicking off those conversations and having meaningful discussions all the way up to the president of American University is going to be a game changer for a lot of students here at this university. So we thank her for her service. And I can answer any questions about my position, structure, timeline, anything like that. As Christine mentioned, the new interim president is going to be president for 2 months, basically. And there's 2 major things on our plate as an organization in that time: regular spring elections, which will be the entire month of March, and then transition. And we're committed to playing a very important role in transitioning the new president, all of us, since Taylor won't be there. to make sure that the new president is ready to go and has everything they need when they take office on May 1st. So I can take any questions.
Questions for the secretary?
I'm also going to add something not related to that. I fixed the jobs board. Remember last week I said that there was an issue fixed. There's now a message when you go on. So somebody in my office, currently it's me, is reviewing each and every jobs board post because there was a severe incident that involved a police report with like a scam post. So now they're being individually reviewed by like a human to make sure they're real. To protect students, and that's our top priority on the job board. Thank you.
Other questions? Seeing none, we will move on. Thank you. To Case Director Mascaro.
Hi everyone, I moved, but I'm kind of trapped back here in this corner, so here, this is gonna be okay. I just wanted to give you all an update on some of the work that we've done since we got back in January and over the winter break. So that if you all have questions, you can ask me now. A lot of it's going to be starting to roll together this week. And so before that happens, I can take any feedback or make any changes from all of you. So the first thing I wanted to discuss, most importantly, is that last week we met with facilities management. Thank you. Last week we met with facilities management at the university for the student rights cards to do a couple of different implementation tests and like adherence tests to make sure that the cards, how they're shaped, their adherence, like sort of tack on the back, all works and everything, passed all the tests the university wanted it to. So now facilities management is putting together their proposed implementation plan for how we're going to go about actually bringing together the manpower to get all of them up. They did recommend that I start putting together a pool of student volunteers who will run around campus with me, actually adhering them to the surfaces. So obviously, Case is a big staff, we're going to start there. But if any senators are interested in actually doing the job with me of putting them up, let me know. I've done it in the past with the Oasis stickers. It's not the most exciting thing we'll do, but it's kind of fun and it's important. And so once that happens, I'll let you all know. But I wanted to make sure that we discussed in that meeting happened because I know I've discussed with some of you that those adherence test meeting the university standards were important. Now those are done. So I'll be able to give you some good news on when we're starting to put them up. The second thing, some administrators in the university asked that we write a report on the academic integrity code and the adjudication process. So how students go through that process if they are accused of violating the code. Just so you all know, those violations are handled outside of the conduct office. So if you're accused of plagiarism, inappropriate collaboration, anything like that, you don't go to conduct, you go to the AIC administrators in your colleges. So they ask for our like sort of thought process and insights on how they do their thing. We offer them that report this week, and in response, they've asked that we join their task force and what they're going to do in terms of recommendations to reform it. I think that I'll be able to recommend a number of senators to sit on it as well. So if any of you are interested, let me know. I just wanted to get that out there now. I'll maybe put this in an email or something that Trevor will have. I'll send it to Trevor so you can all get it. But I don't think that there's any student members on it right now. So this will be our one opportunity to get students on it. Anytime when the university is going to give us anything, I think we should pack it with as many students as they'll let us. So I know we're excited, but I figured that extend an opportunity to the senators as well. Next, a new tab on Case Connect is going to be launched this week. It's going to be the health and safety tab. And so we're listing some resources and services through the health center, but also some that public safety worked with us on recommending us to provide. So things like the safe rides that they offer and different services that if a student wants to contract through public safety, they can. They've been very helpful on that. It's probably going to launch on Wednesday or Thursday. If anyone wants like a screenshot preview of what it looks like right now before it goes live, let me know and I'd be happy to send that to any of you. We are going to be doing a rights clinic either the first or second week of February. We're trying to partner with some people in the RHA, actually, some of the hall presidents, to do that together. Basically, it'll be an opportunity to discuss what rights that a student can count on, just like if you were going to go to a rights clinic that the ACLU put on, and then we'll do a Q&A. We're going to try to get some food there. When I have more info, I'll let you all know, but I definitely would love if you all came, and I'll give you the info ahead of time so we can try to advertise that as widely as possible. When we did an advertisement for the Oasis partnership with the 1009 office, they were doing a pizza 1009 event, a ton of people showed up. So I think if we do something similar, we'll get a lot of people there. And then lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to the different senators that have been working on the reform and expand case bill. I was not expecting that senators would be so interested in case, but I'm flattered. I'm very excited. I got to meet with a lot of you. The committee meeting, I believe that was on Tuesday evening, and I appreciate all the work you've done. I think that the legislature is great. I think we'll be able to handle the additional responsibilities that you're giving us, and it means a lot, so thank you. Appreciate that. With that said, if there's any questions, I am around.
Questions for the director? Seeing none, we will move on. Thank you. Okay, so quick things before we talk about the legislative agenda. Office hours started this past week, and for some reason, I don't know if I wasn't clear enough last week, but there's only like 6 or 7 of the senators of you guys actually signed in for office hours. So that's a half a point towards your attendance already. Not a good way to start the semester, but hopefully we can fix that this upcoming week. Whatever time you signed up for on the doodle poll is the time in which you're allowed for your office hours. Unless you want to change it, then just talk to me. So just remember that office hours are starting, so make sure you sign in and go to those. But besides that, I've been working with the executives to just make sure that transition's going to go as smoothly as possible. I'm working with the commissioner, making sure that this timeline is carried out efficiently in accordance with the governing documents. And I thank you for all the support and just we're going to try and make it as easy as possible. To clarify, for some people, the special election that's occurring in February, is to fill the remaining timeline of the current position. So they would carry out the presidency through April 31st until May 1st, which the spring elections, which are going to occur in March, beginning of April, is the election for the entire new year presidency and executive board, just to make that clear. So besides that, that's all the updates I have. There's plenty of legislation. I appreciate that. Keep up the good work. I hope for a really positive discussion today on everything that we have. So quickly going into the legislative agenda, I sent it out to all of student government yesterday. Sorry it's a little late. It was just I was still editing it, and then I remembered with the meeting minutes that I might as well just send that out as well. So hopefully you guys were able to at least look at it. I mean, I really like it. I like all the input that the senators have put into this, and my goal is to get it approved by student activities early this week and get it out by Wednesday or Thursday. If there are any issues that you see with it, let me know. Is there anything that anyone wants to talk about right now? Any questions, any comments? Yes.
I just have one question comment. I think it's a really great idea. I love it. I think all the different ones are great. I had a chance to look at some of them. I was just going to recommend one of the things with financial aid. I was super excited to see that you said that you wanted to work with us. We're going to do the same thing. I think that another good resource potentially, whether or not you want to put it in there, but definitely contact her, would be our student trustee, Valentina Fernandez. She, I think, is interested in that as well and would be helpful there. But yeah, I think it's great.
Cool. Any other point? Yes, Matt.
Is there a reason why ad hocs are not included in the agenda, or are they dismissed?
So what we did here is I took the 3 standing committees and then the 2 special committees, just because those are the permanent ones. And then that's why I also included in my note to everyone that there's additional things that are coming. It was just a matter of deciding whether to make this a longer document than what it is and balancing that between students if they're going to read through the whole thing or not. That's why. So it's not like I purposely left you out. It was just thinking strategically. It was best just to keep the 5 permanent committees, since everyone's a part of those, Other points? Okay, cool. Questions overall? Anything from me at this point? Yes, Senator O'Connor.
Do we know the timeline of the special election? When campaigning starts?
Yeah, so it's not official until student activities makes it official. But what it's looking like is it'll be the standard thing, 3 information sessions, the nomination convention, campaigning likely will start next weekend. the first information session, and then the nomination convention will be like next Tuesday, not this upcoming Tuesday, but I think next Tuesday. And it's looking like right now, and the proposed timeline that the elections will occur like the 25th of February, but that's not guaranteed. We just have to wait for student activities to confirm that. Other questions? Okay, cool. Moving on to reports from committees, to the Standing Committee on Student Rights and Services. Yes.
Okay, just two quick things before I turn over to Senator Zitzman's actually to talk about his case reform bill. But we met this Wednesday night to discuss the pieces of legislation. So Bill 17-18-005, Senator Hakami and I's avid bill. We decided not to recommend to full Senate because we're gonna scrap it and we're gonna actually try to expand the STEP program instead. It's just more feasible. The administration will probably be happier with it. So we're currently working on that. Hopefully we'll have it either in committee or here by next week. And then Resolution 17-18-009, Senator Hakami's resolution to inform students and faculty about open textbooks and the open textbook resource system. And we amended it, and she'll be talking about it when it comes to full Senate, but now been recommended. And then Senator Zitzman, if you want to talk about case reform.
Yeah, so the third bit of legislation that we considered coming this week was the case bill, bill number 8. So that was introduced first reading last week, and then on Monday of last week, so the day after the Senate meeting, I had a meeting with President Thompson. It was pretty extensive and productive, I think. And what came out of that was some new language that we added in committee. The main thrust of it is to clarify the nature of the bill, as was there was some confusion on Sunday as well, that this is about the casework that CASE does with individual students. Like if you have been accused of a conduct violation, you go to CASE and they help you as a matter of casework, and not general student government advocacy, which is the prerogative of the president. So what came out of committee mainly is an addition to the very top of the bill that makes that distinction crystal clear. So I'm glad to say that with that change and a couple smaller changes that you can ask me about when we consider the bill, that everyone I know of, all the major actors from the president's office in CASE and senators I've talked to have mutually agreed on the bill. So hopefully that goes by smoothly.
Can I just say one more thing before? So the committee actually decided that we're going to meet every week on Wednesdays at 7. You're probably in the Senate office. And I was just going to say, like, if you're in my committee, like, if you're in the Committee of Student Rights and Services, like, please come, please show up. Like, it does go to, first of all, it does go towards your attendance, but also, like, we ran and we were elected and, like, we made a commitment to students to show up and represent them. And, like, coming to your standing committee is, like, a part of that, because we review legislation and we amend it for the better. So it'd be amazing if everyone in my committee could, like, come, because we're having trouble beating quorum, so.
Questions for the chair? All right, seeing none, we will move on. To Committee on Rules and Privileges, quick update. We had one confirmation to consider. The committee favorably recommended the nominee to full Senate. That's why she is now appearing on the full agenda. And then as well, we considered amendments to the rules of debate and decorum, and it was unable to achieve the 2/3 majority required to amend the rules of debate and decorum, and therefore it failed committee. That's all the Committee on Rules and Privileges. So we'll move on, or I guess any questions regarding that? Okay, moving to advising from student activities. There's no current advising. And now moving to new business. Our first agenda item is the confirmation of Farzana Lini to be a senator for the class of 2019. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Farzana Lini. I'm a junior at American University, majoring in international relations. I'm honored to receive the nomination for class of 2019 Senate seat. I believe my past experience qualifies me for this position. As a member of Professional Foreign Service Sorority Delta Phi Epsilon, I have introduced and worked on bylaws that would suit all the members and upcoming pledges. As a CPGO delegate, I serve as the communication channel between DPE and other sororities and fraternities on campus. I have worked with e-board to pass budget for formal and voted on what national or international organization should be sponsored next. The world has taught me how to ensure the rules governing a large body of students protect and uplift everyone's voice in a fair way. However, I have also learned that rules and procedures can only go so far in allowing everyone to have an equal say. Oftentimes, it matters who is getting to speak and who doesn't get to speak. When he said this, I want to use my experience from DPE to ensure that everyone has a fair voice. During my time as the club service officer to the Rotary Club, the second largest club on campus, I worked with AU Club Council to address my concern Rotary Club faced and make sure the club was following the AU guidelines. I have worked to reach out to the greater campus community to come to the meeting. As the member in charge of the rules, I assisted the e-board whenever they had questions on process. This ensured the smooth flow of meetings and allowed the dispute to be hashed out with clear guidance. Rotary has taught me how student club runs and the challenges they face as organization on campus. I hope to work closely with the vice president and with student activities to ensure that clubs receive all the help they need. I have been following the progress of the 13th Undergraduate Senate, and I believe we can do more things. We can get more things done now more than ever. If I am selected to this position, I would like to be part of the committee on campus and student life because I believe my past experience would help me to represent student groups and organizations on campus. As a senator, I would like to push for the bills that are already in process and introduce new bills that will make AU a better place for us all. I was delighted to see the action the Senate took to push for halal food, and I would like to push for this bill further and make halal or any other dietary needs available at TDR because I believe diversity and inclusion starts at the table where we eat. I also want to introduce a bill to have a proper event space for guest speakers. In the past, AU brought some very high-profile speakers, but unfortunately not many of us were able to see them. Having a proper event space will not only give students the opportunity to enjoy guest speakers like Obama and Malala, but it will also give AU a better image. Thank you for your time, and I hope you consider me as your class of 2019 senator.
Thank you. Any questions for the nominee? Senator O'Connor.
So what are some issues or bills that you really want to focus on?
So if some of you know me, that I have been like one of the earliest advocates for halal food on campus. Not just halal food, I also want to focus on kosher food because I feel like the kosher food that we have in TDR is a joke. I think we can do better than that. Not just halal and kosher, we should focus on other dietary needs on campus. Besides that, I really want to push for event space on campus because I feel like most of the time we bring in like great speakers, but not all of us are able to see them. So maybe like push for an event space, a proper event space, so majority of the student body can actually see the guest speakers that KPU and other groups work hard to bring into our campus.
Other questions? Senator Najafi.
Can you also mention what you said during CRP about why you're seeking nomination now? Because I really appreciated it.
So in the fall semester, I ran for SIS Senate and I didn't win. And now I'm back because I really like the work that 13th Undergraduate Senate has been doing and I really want to be part of it. So now I'm here.
Other questions for the nominee? Seeing none. All right, if you wouldn't mind stepping out. All right, debate or discussion on the nominee. Senator Fryer.
I think I can speak for a lot of people in here when I say that I love her dedication to the Undergraduate Senate. She also had a lot of knowledge of like what we've been doing as well, and that's something that I think should be commended, especially because considering that she ran for SIS Senate and didn't get it, but she's still like coming back and trying, to be a part of this organization. I just think, if she really wants to be here, I think she's gonna put that like passion into action in the Undergraduate Senate.
Senator Kenna.
I know Farzana from last year, freshman year, and I was also in this body then too. And she would always ask me like, "Oh, you're a senator, you're in the Undergraduate Senate. What are you doing?" And have that interest in it. And I think that her paying attention to student issues and what's going on this campus led her to run. And it was unfortunate that she didn't join this body earlier. But I would encourage, based on her dedication, that the entire city allows her to be in on it.
Senator Martine?
Yeah, I worked with her in Rotaract, and like she was saying, like she led us to be the second largest club on campus. She was in charge of club and recruitment and all that. And I'd also recommend that she be appointed.
Senator Kantar?
Yeah, I want to reiterate something that Senator Cannon mentioned, that just how engaged she's been with this organization while not being a senator. And I think it's really refreshing to have someone without the rhetoric of like, oh, some people don't know like how to get to Senate or don't know like how to like find those resources, but like she's obviously found those resources and been following closely and wants to already expand on those policies. So that's why I have recommended for her to be in the Senate.
Senator Burgess?
I just want to say I'll be supporting this candidate, and I think her coming into this body and already knowing from day one what type of legislation she wants to work on just makes the job more easier, and it makes it easier for some of us that might want to support some of the ideas that she said to work with her.
Senator O'Connor?
I concur with Senator Burgess. I think she answered my question very well, and I honestly think the most important thing in any candidate is what do they want to do the second that they get into Senate, and she gave a pretty good answer.
Senator Zitzman?
I think she's probably the most qualified person I've seen considered for a nomination to the Senate. She's definitely more qualified than I was when I was nominated and confirmed. It's probably last year. So just like everyone else, I think I'll support her.
Senator Agdepa?
Yeah, so as a senator who went against her, so like I just like to say that yes, she's a great candidate, and yes, I would be in full support of her, especially with her ideas of, especially with going just past halal, going to kosher food especially, and understanding that issue is with Aramark specifically, and as a big person who's like against Aramark, I would love to see her on here in Senate to help push against some of the things that they do.
Other Senator Breyer?
Motion to vote.
Okay, there's a motion to vote on the nominee. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of closing debate and moving to vote say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the yeas have it. Okay, so all those in favor of confirming Farzana Lini to be senator for the class of 2019 say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. All right. Oh wait, stay up here real quick. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Farzana Lini, solemnly swear
that I will diligently and faithfully
that I will diligently and faithfully
execute the duties and responsibilities
execute the duties and the responsibilities
of the office of Senator for the class of 2019,
of the office for the Senator of Class of 2019,
that I will abide by the governing documents
that I will abide with the governing document
of the student government,
of the student government,
and that I will work to my fullest abilities
that I will work toward my full abilities
to promote the interests and welfare
to promote the interests and the welfare
of the students of American University.
of the student of American University.
Congratulations. All right, with that, you now have full speaking privileges and voting privileges in the body. And that means now the class of 2019 is fully filled. So now we're down to 4 seats remaining. So we're getting there. All right. Now, moving on to the next agenda item, the clerk will read the legislation by name and title.
Bill 17-18-009, a bill to recognize and support AU's transgender community.
Would the sponsor or sponsors like to speak on the bill?
Yes.
All right, floor is yours.
at a loss of words a little bit, but I'm going to probably start off by reading the background information for everyone. So we announced this bill to recognize and pledge the 13th Undergraduate Senate's full support for AU's transgender students, along with outlining key necessities that will better and expand on the resources AU offers, as we understand the importance of standing in solidarity with the queer and trans community all the time, not just some. 13th Undergraduate Senate understands the importance of promoting inclusion for all members of the AU community, and such understanding begins with listening to one another while acknowledging that hate has no place on this campus. Solidarity efforts extended to the trans community should not be facilitated only when hate presents itself on campus, when in fact efforts should be shown and executed all the time. This bill will address and highlight a dedication to protecting and advancing transgender rights on campus through numerous comprehensive internal and USG efforts of both inclusivity and external campus-wide reforms. Transgender students are just like everyone else. Failure to stand for their rights to exist without persecution is inherently reprehensible. Everyone deserves the right to be supported and included in their home away from home, while feeling embraced for their identities. We want to thank Pride and the Mental Health Initiative for co-sponsoring and aiding the fruition of this bill. For those who do not have this document or have not read the entire bill, we'll just go section by section since it isn't that long. So section 1, subsection A says the chair on the Committee of Campus Life and Campus and Student Life, along with the speaker, will open dialogue with RHA in the Housing and Residence Life to work on arranging the ability for students to have swipe access to the single stall restrooms on every floor of their residence halls. Section B says AUSG senators are encouraged to go to the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life and discuss how discrimination against LGBTQ+ persons in Greek life is appropriately handled, and to work on ways to eliminate such discrimination and harassment. Is everyone familiar with ZBT and Zeta Psi, their fraternities on campus? Everyone? Yeah. So this really awesome thing that they have is a commitment to consent or commitment to student safety signs that they put up. I remember I went to a Zeta Psi party at some point my freshman year, and I saw these, and automatically, as like a woman, I felt so much more safe. It's one step towards making a large community feel welcome in a community that is stereotyped with not having such commitment signs.
And as a, just to piggyback off of that, I'm also one of the sponsors of this bill, and as a gay student and a member of Greek Life, one of the biggest hesitations I had when joining Greek Life was, is it going to be LGBTQ friendly? Am I going to feel included? Is it, something that I really want to get myself into? And it turned out that, my fraternity was actually contemplating on even adding something like a sign along those lines in their fraternity house. And it turned out to be one of the most amazing experiences of my life, like being able to actually, converse with them about it and seeing their dedication to making sure that I want to, feel included just like everyone else would.
All right. So section C says senators are advised to communicate to American University administration on the importance of accepting and including trans students to the AU community. So this includes providing more scholarship opportunities to trans students and promoting the importance of hiring trans professors by working with the administration for future hiring practices. There will be a bill that is also up for discussion, which talks about diversifying AU's faculty base. I don't know about you guys, but all of my professors are cisgender white people, and if this school is to be serious about the terms of inclusion, diversity, and equality, it starts within the classrooms that the students are signing up and paying to attend. So section D says to increase outreach and communication of the American University student government with the student body by setting up hearings, polls, roundtables, not just with students who are informed and enthusiastic already about advocacy efforts, but also introducing and involving students who have not been involved in student government affairs and campus life affairs. And the last one, which is incredibly important, is to work with the Mental Health Initiative to bring awareness to the disproportionate mental health challenges that face the trans community. Would you like to elaborate more on this section?
So a lot of trans.
Time has elapsed for presentation. Senator Pintar.
I'm going to give the senators presenting an extension of 5 minutes.
There's a motion to extend the presentation by 5 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay.
Thank you. So, just real quick, transgender students and transgender youth specifically face a lot and very disproportionate amounts of struggles with mental health, whether that be anxiety, depression, etc. So it is important, immensely important, to address mental health within the trans community and to work with mental health initiative so as to address these needs, provide resources and other sorts of opportunities so that every single student on this campus can, feel good about themselves, feel comfortable in their own skin, and be who they are.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for the sponsors? Seeing none, without a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Senator Morrow.
Seeing that like you address like the swipe card, like swiping in for like the single seat restrooms and stuff, and I know that correct me if I'm wrong, you had legislation before addressing like gender neutral bathrooms and stuff. Is there a reason why it's not like did you think about adding it to this like the language about like promoting that more so?
I don't know if I've necessarily introduced lots of legislation on it, but I definitely support it. This is basically like a very introductory bill. It can definitely be elaborated and added to by the whole Senate body. So if this is something that you're very passionate about, you can totally add it. We can amend this bill to have that section. Super in favor.
Other questions?
Senator Pintar?
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for bringing this forward. It's so appreciated. My question just like for what you guys prefer since you're the authors, since there is like room to expand, do you feel that we should pass this completely now, or do we feel like it's not to expand and then pass it?
I think that this is a great look. I think that we should be focusing on everyone releasing legislation. But the fact of the matter is, not one person can keep providing all the legislation for each meeting. There's so many issues impacting students. This is just one that starts the conversation. If this is something that interests anyone in this room, and if anyone wants to elaborate, write something up and bring it in next Sunday. This is a great conversation starter, in my opinion. Pride is in favor, mental health initiative is in favor. I've taken it to my women and gender and sexuality studies professor both last year and this year. They're signing on to be on faculty senate, so that'll be a big support. They're in favor. So it's really just about getting senators to start writing, please, and start elaborating. Yeah. So if it interests you, if everyone wants to maybe amend it and just put it in, totally works as well. Really up to whatever the general consensus wants.
Other questions? Seeing none, without objection, this bill is going to be referred to the Committee on Campus and Student Life. All right. Moving on to the next agenda item, the clerk will read the legislation by name and title.
Bill 17-18-0-10, a bill to make AU's tuition fixed and provide a tuition shopping sheet.
Would the sponsor like to speak on the bill?
Yes, please.
All right.
Before we begin, I just want to call the names of each of the co-sponsors and recognize their amazing solidarity with real concerns that pretty much impact everyone on this campus if you're not a part of the very wealthy percentage of America. Once I call your name, please stand up because I'd really like to acknowledge you guys. So first off, Senator Pintar. I know it's extra, but like my office is really extra. So like you don't get it. I'll get into it and how important this is for me. Senator Hawk, Senator Hanash, Senator Burgess, Senator Meegan's not here. Senator Jen, Senator Adams, Senator Polinsky, Senator Najafi, Senator Fryer, Senator O'Connor, Senator Dahl.
That's not my last name.
That's
my employee. I'm searching for a job,
Oh my god, I'm really so sorry. Okay.
It's Maynard.
I'm so sorry. Okay, whatever. You lost me Facebook.
I'm sorry.
It's totally fine. It's totally my problem. Senator Deakin, Senator Howard, Senator Adepa, and Senator Mejia. All right, I want everyone to look around at these people and actually applaud them right now, because you guys don't realize how many students you're helping by simply signing on to something that, in my opinion, will revolutionize the future of this campus. So thank you guys, and you guys can just sit down. So I just want to start off by talking about why I decided to write this entire bill. A month and a half ago, my mom called, and she, so when I was younger, my dad got laid off from his job for a few years, and my mom didn't have a college education, so our family was pretty much making nothing. We were living with our grandparents, my grandparents, and it was a really difficult time in my family's existence. And then my mom decided that she needed to start saving money for my sister and I so we can hopefully get an apartment after college and start off our lives. And so she started saving, paycheck by paycheck for me and my sister. And so she called a month ago. And I pick up the phone and she says, the tuition's due. I had to spend all of that money on this school. So I have no savings. I have nothing. And I'm going to come out of college with around $60K in student loan debt. And I've dealt with a lot of shit at this school. And it's like, and sometimes I think why don't I just drop out and go to community college? Why do I care so much about a school that has harassed me? In the beginning of the year, I was really, really depressed, and I was in and out of the counseling center. And around that period of time, one of my friends told me you should join student government, because that's where I found my voice. And so I did. And this organization saved me. And I don't want to sound cheesy, I'm being very, very real. I was really fucking depressed. And I joined this organization. And it saved me because I still believe in all the good stuff we can do when we stand up for things that are a little bit radical or a little bit outside of the box, and we do crap that affects people's lives. So I wrote this 8 or 9 page bill that took me a month and a half, and I spent literally time during class editing and researching and talking to people in the Roosevelt Institute, which is a think tank on campus, to talk to the economic advisor, the president. And then I went to GW, and I talked to the GW Roosevelt Institute, to all of their members. And then they referred me to the faculty senate of GW, who I also talked to. And then I took this to Steph Woods, who's my poverty and culture teacher, who's also on faculty senate, and I talked to her. And then this morning, I woke up at 9 a.m. to go talk to our student trustee, who's fully on board. There's just a few edits that we can make, but it's fine. It's going to go to committee. I don't actually mind. But more importantly, I talked to students. And in this bill, I hope everyone's taken the time to read, our retention rate is the lowest out of every school in DC. That means kids are dropping out because the school is too fucking expensive, and they don't care. Why? Because just look at Kerwin. His own paycheck was the most expensive out of even presidents at Harvard. And I'm so sorry, everyone. I know we're a really bright, and great school, but we're American University. What fucking president is getting paid upwards to $1.5 million while students are leaving this college in worse situations than myself? And that's just the undergraduate. The law students, they're literally graduating with an average of $164,000 in debt.
Time has elapsed for presentation. Senator Morrow. By how much?
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a motion to extend by 5 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. All right.
This is a nonpartisan issue. There are Republican congressmen that are also asking that universities raise their endowment spending to 5%. You know what AU's spending percentages of spending their endowment? It's barely 3%. So where's that money? What is happening to our endowment? It's just sitting there. And that 3% basically goes towards everything. And your parents are paying more in tuition every year. Tuition is expected to rise upwards to 4.5 to 5%, which is way more than it. I was just on the AU's Board of Trustees PDF, which is the most expensive out of like numerous private colleges. And this isn't a radical idea, guys. George Washington has been doing this for 10 years now, and it's been working for them. Catholic University is transitioning to do this now. And their students, they have less students than we do. They have a lower endowment than we do, but they're making this happen. It's around like 76 for the person who looks confused. So as you can see, AU has an estimate of 73% of students were owing debt after graduation. There's a lot that we can do when we get together and we fight. DACA students, there's a lot of questions last meeting of what we're going to be doing besides the DACA resolution. For everyone who's familiar and who's read this, George Mason's university president, Angel Cabrero, that's his name, I can't really recall, said that DACA recipients at George Mason are afraid that they have to drop out because once DACA gets repealed by our current president and the administration, these students no longer have the means to be attending school, right? So having a fixed tuition basically saves these students from losing their financial aid or losing the means to even be at any sort of academic institution. And this, by the way, I met up with LULAC, LASSO, and pretty much every single other Latinx organization 3 days ago, and they're on board. And they were supposed to come to this meeting, but then somebody felt through, so we're gonna have a cool other thing with them. So pretty much everyone that I'm talking to is really getting energized by this movement. For those who were here before I was, everyone familiar with END, or even freshmen maybe have heard of it? So they all graduated, but their efforts still remain remembered. What the bylaws basically say is we need to get 10% of the student body, or approximately 700 students, to sign on in order to advance any sort of legislation via petitioning. They got upwards to 500 people. That's really significant. And when they did that, the tuition had only increased 3.5%. When students realize that they're literally getting ripped off, not going to lie, and the tuition for the 2018-2019 school year will be raising upwards to close to 5%, that number, I kid you not, is going to raise. And if we as senators hold roundtables, we get freaking reserve a space at the bridge, go talk to people, literally hold tabling events, post on Facebook, write articles. The Eagle is totally down if we do all this stuff. Kids are going to want to fight back. More importantly, there's a senator at GW called Omid Firuzi, Virgin. He wrote a tuition shopping sheet plan. And what this entails is that, so most schools around the country have a procedure that says that their budget is basically going to be shifted every single 4 years. AU does 2. So what we can ensure is that every single 2 years, or whenever students sign on to attend American University, they would know the cost for the first year and the second year, and then the approximation for the third and the fourth. We, as of right now, when I decided to attend here, I only knew the first year, and so I estimated that okay, if I'm paying, I actually really don't know. Actually, I don't even know. But whatever amount I'm paying is going to be probably the same for my sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. But it's raising. And so now I'm freaking the fuck out about how I'm supposed to get more scholarship money. I'm managing a job while being a student in order to just pay to live here. I have to become an RA in order to get like some sort of, these are real thoughts that kids think about. And I have to go take community college courses over the summer just so I can lower that debt. It should not be somebody's priority as an 18-year-old to worry about your own fucking finances. It should be your priority to be the best goddamn student you can be with the amount of money you're putting into a school that's supposed to protect you, not their own freaking savings account. So this is just a start. I'm not saying that we should, get pitchforks and fire, burn down this institution, but this needs to be advertised. This needs to be talked about. Because before you deal with all of AU's crap, you're first supposed to pay to attend, right? And if before we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we need to be a school that brings in diverse students. Our year, freshman year, the number of diverse students that attend has dropped significantly. So you don't really see, like, if we look around the room, like this is a very this is probably the ideal of what we want AU to be, right? We want diverse spaces. We want diverse thoughts. We want diverse people. please, like, work with me on this, that's all.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for this? I would also like to remind that I know you're passionate, but just watch the language.
Sorry.
Any questions for the sponsor? Secretary Schneider.
So thank you for your work on this bill. I think that starting a conversation about college affordability every year is very important because I think the Senate doesn't that conversation doesn't transfer from year to year. So I think starting the conversation every year is a great way to go about this. What other, besides fixed tuition, what other options did you take into consideration when you were thinking about college affordability?
Yeah, so, well, just to get this out of the way, the tuition shopping sheet, if all of this does not work out, that is probably the most necessary and tangible means. And if not for 4 years, at least for 2. I think the school can definitely be a little bit more transparent about your sophomore year's costs if you're a freshman. I talked to Valentina, and she said that as of right now, there's a capital campaign, which is a strategy plan for 5 years, which includes fundraising, alumni development, identifying potential donors, and talking to the alumni office, along with mission, vision, values, which is this theme. You're totally familiar with this probably. It's this theme that Sylvia Burwell is working on to basically sell American University to potential donors. And if we decide to work on this, if we decide to push this through, we, the Senate, can actually write some sort of mission, vision, value. And that's really incredible because we represent the students and that'd be something awesome to have. What I'm also thinking about doing is having this document that exists, which is basically literally a tax reform that states the salary of high-level officials to be more transparent to students. Does anyone know how much Sylvia Burwell is making this year? I literally looked at every single website online. I have no idea. None of us do. Does anyone know how much the Board of Trustees donates to school every year? No one does. The Eagle actually reported that 2 years ago. That's a really big concern among students. So being more transparent about what's going on with finances. What is the administration doing? Everybody's wondering what the Senate is doing. We're wondering what administration is doing. That's a really high level of disconnect. And so the Board of Trustees, the upcoming meeting is this February, but this February they won't be talking about budget changes. So what is really crucially important, everyone, is next September. And you know what happens next September is when the executive board changes. So everybody, I think, should be talking about at least some sort of student finance related measure. And we should be very, very careful with what we're necessarily advocating and those who we believe are going to be best fit to advocate for these needs. I'm one person and I clearly don't have all the answers. And I hate it when people are like, you're too young to shut up, like stand aside, like we've been here longer. That's not true. So I'm hoping that if this passes, we can all get together with the Senate Committee on Finance, they're awesome chairs, to figure out some more solutions, because this is definitely a multilateral solution to a very complex problem that one freshman cannot find all the answers to. But I hope, shortly that answers your question. But definitely the shopping sheet needs to get done for sure.
Other questions, Senator Morrow.
I mean, first I just, again, I want to applaud you for this. I mean, I am a full-time student, I have a full-time job, and I know how it can impact you, academically and socially as a student. You're always trying to be the best you can be. And sometimes it's difficult with all the conflicts and commitments that you need to make in order to, priorities, I guess. So my question is just that, I'm maybe just this again, but there's section 6, the Senate recommendations for the Board of Trustees, yes? Yeah. So have you spoken to someone as to what, I guess, their perception or their reaction would be to, at the bare minimum, like you say, a financial shopping sheet, what they react, how they've been reacting to this? Have you spoken to anyone?
Yeah, so what Valentina basically told me is that right now she's in this strange position where the new Board of Trustees is being taught all the stuff for being the new Board of Trustees. So who we will be referring to is, her name is Sodom, yeah. Yes. So we'll have to be basically training her on a lot of what we want. However, because the real Board of Trustees meeting that will be talking about the new budget for 2019-2020 will be on September of the next school year. a lot of these specific statistics and measures that I've put up regarding how GW goes about advocating for fixed tuition, which by the way, if you frame it as a marketing tactic, it works really well. So just say, I mean, straight up, like a little bit of like a TMI, but like my ex-boyfriend went to GW because he like knew that, you know, he's not going to be paying any more than he did his freshman year. And then if he stays at AU, he's going to be paying more. So that's a really great like marketing tactic. That's why kids decide to go to GW besides just medical school that it has that we don't. So it's really just about how you frame it to the board of trustees and how you kind of make them believe that they're investing in the future. It's not that they're just making money.
Time has elapsed for questioning. Senator Pintar.
I move to give Senator Hakami unlimited time to answer questions.
There's a motion for an unlimited extension for questioning. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay.
Okay. So yeah, it's a lot about marketing. Why I pointed out only Kuduzi, who was a senator, is because this is an example that we all should be taking upon ourselves. This is one random student who just decided to like join student government, decided to run for Senate, and has impacted an entire institution in some sort of pretty revolutionary manner. Just one student. Valentina told me something really important that I actually want to vocalize to everyone in this room. Student pressure gets stuff done. Student pressure got rid of Gary Cohen. Student pressure will get rid of the, what is his name? He's accused of sexual assault. Student pressure gets a tuition shopping sheet. Student pressure is why we're functioning as a Senate. And student pressure is why this issue is even being acknowledged. So a lot of what we're going to do, I think, at least the vision I have, is just senators talking, senators being active, and researching and, you know, focusing on something that's really, really important.
Other questions for the sponsor? Secretary Schneider.
So just like on the, so GW hears a lot in this bill, and while it's on one hand great for students that their tuition is fixed and that they know that they're going to be paying the same over 4 years, GW is also experiencing a major financial crisis, and they have for several years now. And it's not just because of fixed tuition; they've made a lot of risky financial decisions that have led to their current predicament. But beginning in 2015, and another round of budget cuts was just announced, they have had to cut budgets a lot across the board. And they've merged departments within student services, and they haven't been able to serve students to the best of their ability because they've had to cut staff. So I just want to kind of how as student leaders are we going to balance asking for like increased counseling services and asking for more from the university, balancing that with trying to like stymie how much they can. We're at 81% tuition dependent university. How are we going? How can we balance that? And also take into consideration that our endowment really isn't that high, so we don't really want to be spending that much.
No, that's a really valid point, which is why I took out a bunch of notes because I knew somebody was going to ask. So currently, as of now, there's $36 million that's going to be added within the next 2 years to our endowment, which is great. And regarding that as well, like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a 4.5 to 5% tuition hike. I think what a lot of schools do is they cap the amount of tuition increases, which is something that Catholic University, who has a lower endowment, lower students or less students were accepting the tuition, acceptance to attend the institution. They've capped their tuition increases to 3.5%. What we can do is we can ensure students that we're not going to be charging you, or we're not going to be hiking your tuition up any higher than exactly that, 3.5%. It needs to be a step-by-step thing. I'm not some sort of like radical that's like, oh, free everything, which by the way, like not throwing any shade over anyone. But like I get it. This is reality. We're like talking about a school, and it's a very sensitive topic. But we can take slow steps towards this ideal vision of where we want to be at. So right now, the tuition is aimed to be hiking up 4.5%. say that, we're going to be balancing it out by 4%, and instead we're going to be investing in stuff like fossil-free AU. This is really hard for me. Fossil-free AU, which statistics prove that it actually grows our endowment because it's smart investment. We're using market flexibility in our favor. And then students are happy. And then you get people who are actually excited about student government, who have this newfound belief in what our student leaders can do. Right? So sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. If I may, I just something that had since I was reading the bill is just that answer your question also is that it is definitely a long game. This isn't something that will happen tomorrow, and it takes a lot of research. And it's very much like a chicken egg situation where you're oh, we might need to spend this money. It's an investment, or we can't take certain students, but then at the same time we won't take certain students because they can't afford it. And then we not only we lose talent, but we lose people that just deserve to be here, period. And that's the problem. And I think there's just so many things that when we talk about money, there are things that we can be spending on that we're not spending on right now, or we're leaving spending we're doing on other things that don't benefit the school, and then don't benefit the school in the long run. So when we're talking about tuition freeze, that brings students in and gives the school more appeal. And so then when you start building stronger alumni, and you build stronger student base in general. And that's the end goal here, is that we have a place that people want to be here. That's the problem with in general, when you see all these kids that when they don't retain these students, it's because they're not happy here. And that's the point. We need to make this school a place that people want to stay. And that's a lot. It's a monetary burden that people don't want to have, period.
Is that a question?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is that a question?
No. Yeah. Well, is that true? Yes. Would you agree?
That's amazing. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Sorry, I had something to say, but I forgot.
I'm so sorry.
Other questions? Remember, this is only first reading. Vice President Salvi.
Yeah, like I said, thank you for this. As a student, also works to sustain myself is something I definitely thought about and means a lot. But I think there's just a lot of different things in here, talking about the tuition, kind of stuff for for DACA students, the tuition shopping sheet. So we thought about kind of even if these could be its own bill. We thought about maybe separating them into their own kind of things. Kind of think that there's this 8-page bill, but still there's this I feel put them all together might be kind of not even doing each of them the justice that they deserve, kind of as their own issue. So it has something that you may be open to, or you
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that, and then I realized when you're writing a research paper, you want your ideas to kind of build off of each other. And also, I don't really, maybe this is me being cynical, but I don't necessarily trust an administration enough to look at, for example, 4 individual bills that I hand them, and instead this kind of format shows them exactly oh wow, if we don't protect DACA students, then this happens, and then oh wow, if you don't do something this, then maybe I don't know, maybe it kind of builds off each other. So I think there's a little bit more fluidity. But yeah, I mean, we can always discuss that in committee or something.
Senator Zitzman.
I would like to thank the senator for the research that she's done on this. It's pretty impressive, and also move to refer it to the finance committee.
Oh, I mean, it was mine there anyway, but
Right.
Yeah. Do you still wish the motion, or?
Yes.
Okay. There's a motion to refer this bill to the Special Committee on Finance. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of referring the bill to the Special Committee on Finance, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed, say nay. So be it done. Okay. Cool. All right, moving on to the next agenda item. The clerk will read the legislation by name and title.
Directive 17-18-003, a directive to fund the student rights cards.
Would the sponsor like to speak on the directive?
Yeah, okay. So this is just, we've already paid for the student rights cards, and now we just need to reimburse the account. So at the comptroller's request, I wrote this directive to do that.
Any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we'll move to a period of debate. Any discussion or debate on the directive? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of adopting Directive 17-18-003, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. Cool. Moving on to the next agenda item, the clerk will read the legislation by name and title.
Policy Book 17-18-004, a policy book to update the elections policy book.
Would the sponsors like to speak on the bill?
Sure. So Joyce kind of already talked about this in public comment, but Senator Hakami and I, we've been working on this since last semester, also with JSUB member Vahidi and Elections Commissioner DeGoes, to reform the elections policy book. And so this does a couple of things. Let me pull it up real quick. The first thing it does is it defines harassment and discriminatory behavior in the elections policy book, so that and that's what you see on the screen right there, so that if those things happen, they can be properly punished. You'll notice that discriminatory behavior is now going to be defined the same way that it is in the student conduct code, so that if somebody does those things during an election, they can be punished the same way that you would be if you violated the student conduct code outside of an election. That's the first thing, which we think is really important because obviously in the fall elections we had issues with that. And the second thing is what Joyce was talking about, changing the campaign finance rules a little bit. So we do want to allow campaigns to get money from persons, groups, other entities not officially part of their campaigns, but that should be reported. And to address Joyce's concern again, because he or she said that this prevents free speech. I think that's what the argument was. Jason member Vahidi explained pretty well why this would not infringe on free speech. So like if you're getting a material or money from something that's not part of your campaign, that should still be disclosed because somebody is spending money and resources on your behalf. So that concern doesn't really make any sense. So that's what this says. And then there's also something in here about how the election, basically this kind of puts into writing that you have to report your finances within 72 hours, which we think that makes sense because it should be in a timely manner but not too burdensome. And then I believe we have an amendment to this, which I'm fine with, that Senator Legitimacy is going to propose to make it so that other people can also propose campaign material. And then the final parts are about the votes. So what you're seeing on the screen is what we originally thought of, which is that abstained votes should not count towards the total, but Senator Burgess and I were talking just yesterday, and I believe I sent you a number of amendments about this, how we think it might be better to count the abstained votes, but just count them in a separate category. So Trevor will probably put those amendments up. Because I emailed them to him. It's just to consider, if we want to not count them, or count them in a separate category, just so that people know how many votes for an abstention. And then, there's another part. So this provision, if you read it, is just to make sure that, just to clarify that no one else besides the people mentioned here should know about the election results, because I heard that there was some issue with that in the fall election, and that should just be clear. I think that's all we changed. Okay, and then this just goes with the abstention thing. In my amendment, I was going to strike this because if we are going to make it so that abstentions count, obviously we wouldn't need this portion.
All right. Questions for the sponsors? Senator Zitzman.
This is actually a question for you.
Yes.
But policy books normally have second reading.
Yes.
Okay.
Secretary Schneider.
I have a question about the abstain, just because it's a very hotly debated point, or was a hotly debated point, and I just to fully understand what you were proposing, and then so I, for example, ran unopposed in spring, and I received 1,699 votes. There were a total of 2,435 people who voted, and then 607 people abstained because I was running unopposed. So I received 69.8% of the vote. Would I, under the proposed change, would I have received 100% of the vote?
Maybe can you say that again?
So because 607 people abstained from my race where I ran unopposed, I got 69.8% of the vote. There were also like 129 write-ins, so that was 5.3% of the total vote. So would I have received 95% of the vote?
Okay, so yeah, I mean under this,
Under the
under what's on the screen, yes, it would have been 95%. But then I gave an amendment. I emailed an amendment to Trevor saying that the abstentions should count. So that
So
like
stay under the current.
yeah. Oh wait. So right now, or they? How does this system work?
How we determined it works now is just that. So I received 69.8% of the vote. Abstention as a person received 24.9% of the vote, and write-ins received 5.3%.
Okay, so like right now, is there like a category designated for abstain votes? Like you can say like this many people abstain.
Yes, because you can't advance that vote.
Okay, so then I didn't know, but yeah, so I think what I emailed Trevor, because that's essentially what I emailed Trevor, the amendment would do. It seems like that's the same as what it is right now.
So basically, we just want to determine if we want to have somebody, just to clarify again, if we retain the current rules and say that abstentions do count, that 25%, for example, in my race in the spring, would remain. If not, they don't count towards the total. And
yes. Question, Senator Adams.
This is for you, but so for abstentions, so if you don't actually like vote at all, does that count as an abstention? Like if you don't open the form, like if you don't open the form?
Oh no, it's not counting because
Okay.
if you don't vote at all, like if you don't vote in any of the elections, nothing, like you're not recorded at all. So like the total number of votes cast in the spring of 2017 election was 2,435. So in the president race, there were only 90 abstentions because everybody votes for president.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to me, who's running unopposed, everybody's like the same.
Why would there be a reason to really keep it staying? What's the
That's the question that I asked when I found out that I only got 70% of the vote in the
The way that OIT sets up the voting form is that you have to select an option no matter what. So you either select a candidate or abstain, or you write in your own candidate. But you have to choose one of those. And the way the system is currently set up is you either vote for a candidate, or if you abstain or write in a candidate, it counts against the other candidate. That's what Secretary Schneider is talking about. So the system currently, if you vote abstain, it's voting no. That's how it's currently set up.
And we had a debate about that because there was an issue with like how the votes were tabulated in spring. So we actually had a debate about what the word abstain means. Like, are you selecting none of these candidates, or are you actively saying no to the candidates that are there? We determined that you are saying no.
Other questions for Senator Mejia?
This is just clarification, but that means that you can lose to abstain, right? And you would then not get your seat. So
yes,
you
can lose to you can currently lose to abstain.
Senator Burgess.
So it's abstain. So to clarify, abstain votes are basically essentially saying no, although they're in their separate category.
Yes. Senator O'Connor.
So under Section 5 campaign regulations, only candidates, campaigns, and individuals officially affiliated with campaigns. That's the section I'm concerned about, officially affiliated. I was under the impression that we no longer have like a form where you have to, put like your campaign manager or whatever positions that you have. Has that been changed? Like, is there now like an official guide, like form for that? Or is this just sort of like a thing?
Senator Ha, you have?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean it is that part is problematic. But I don't know if you were here when we discussed this, but I think Senator Legitimacy said that she has an amendment to fix that part, so like to make it more broad.
Director Mascaro.
I'm just curious if this is going to be effective for the special and for the spring, or if the implementation date is post.
I think it depends on when or if we.
Yeah, our idea was hopefully to have it before the special election as per the election commissioner, but we'll see how the Senate holds it.
President Machovic.
From when we all met last spring, my understanding was that like you mostly disclose like your senior campaign members, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I disclosed my campaign manager and I had a very small campaign team. If you ended up disclosing all of them, if you couldn't figure it out, it was kind of obvious.
Is that a question?
Thank you, question.
Vice President Self.
Can we see these like proposed amendments so that we can all see like kind of, because this is like you talking about like this is kind of old.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
can we see what we're actually working with the amendments so that we can like focus on what actually needs to be changed.
Yeah, so policy books go through 2 readings. So unless a senator waives first reading, then this is going to go to CRP and they'll be considered next week anyway. So this is just for this is just questioning the sponsors right now. Senator Morrow.
So I know you talked about section 5, like the subsection 3, or about like candidates, especially failure campaigns. And I know that someone says they're offering an amendment to that. I'm just concerned about the language in that it says make those campaign materials and what exactly that constitutes. Like, can I have my own coalition go on to like Facebook and post like opposition or endorsement of a candidate? Does that count as a campaign material? And that's like, I remember the amendment says that it has to be approved by the person running or something in order to be able to use that. So I'm just kind of concerned about what exactly constitutes like campaign materials and does that infringe on like free speech, like say like social media and stuff like that.
Yeah, so obviously like obviously the materials aren't governed by like copyright or IP laws, like intellectual property laws, because it's just student government, but you could go onto Facebook and like, you know, endorse a candidate or whatever. I mean, that's not their campaign material. If you make a flyer, like if you're like the person on the campaign staff who makes a flyer, I think that would be considered campaign material, and then you'd have to be authorized to post it, right? I can't like take a flyer from someone's campaign without authorization and post it, right?
Time for questioning has elapsed. Is there a motion? Seeing none, without objection, the policy book will be referred to CRP. Is that in the?
No. You got that.
Okay. Moving on to the next agenda item. Yes, Senator Dantzler.
Yes, thank you. Can I make a motion to allow Secretary Schneider 5 minutes to give a report right now?
So that would be a motion to amend the agenda.
And then allow Secretary Schneider 5 minutes at the present moment.
Okay. There's a motion to provide Secretary Schneider a 5-minute report. Is there a second? This is amending the agenda, so it requires 2/3. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay.
Thank you all. Sorry for interrupting, Senator, but I do have to leave. But it is very important. On July 4th, 2015, Kevin Sutherland, an American University alum and two-term AUSG secretary, serving from May 2011 through April 2013, was stabbed and murdered on a metro train on the 4th of July weekend in a botched robbery attempt. They later found and charged his killer with first-degree murder. And he was found guilty on February 9th of this year, in a couple weeks. The sentencing hearing is going to take place in Washington. You know, as a person who is a successor to the office that Kevin held, this has been something that I've been exposed to. His work I've been exposed to for my entire time in the Secretary's cabinet. And in fact, his death happened when I was an incoming student. It was over that summer. So it's something that I was aware of very early on. Kevin was responsible for redoing the jobs board into largely what its current iteration is, which significantly cut down on fraud from its last iteration. We continue to improve it. And he was working, once he graduated, he was living his life to the fullest, doing what he loved, which was progressive communications, working for New Blue Interactive. And it really struck the American University community, people that I knew who were seniors and juniors who knew him, and the values that he upheld as a student and as a student leader and just as a person were kind of instilled in me as in my most formative time here at AU. A couple weeks ago, we were contacted by his father to ask that if we're interested to write a victim impact statement, which will be entered into the court record at the sentencing hearing on February 9th. I'm writing a victim impact statement on behalf of the USG and submitting it tonight. And it'll be entered into the official record and it'll be considered by the judge when they're handing down the sentence. The person has a plea deal, so they can be sentenced from 30 to 35 years. The family is looking for the maximum sentence, which is 35 years. So I'm going to be writing, taking time out tonight to write that and talk about, how much he meant to this organization and to this campus, and how much, as a now a two-term university secretary, how much his legacy meant to me. And I just wanted to let you all know that.
Questions for the secretary? All right. Thank you.Moving on to the next agenda item. The clerk will read the legislation by name and title.
Resolution 17-18-11, a resolution to increase faculty members of color, world studies, and language courses.
Would the sponsors like to speak on the resolution?
Yes, please.
All right, the floor is yours.
Okay, so we've been working on this for a while. It was initially supposed to be a bill, but then we realized that it would probably be best written as a resolution. So technically, we've been working for this for like 4 months now, but it's fine. What this basically says is that a really big concern among most students is the fact that there is really no diversity on this campus, and nevertheless, a lot of students are limited in the amount of world studies courses and languages they can take. Currently, AU offers less world studies languages, or just languages, than every other school in the DC area, predominantly GW and Georgetown. Such languages we would hope to add would include Persian, Turkish, Greek, Urdu, and Polish, which are presented by George Washington and Georgetown. And the necessity of having these classes at AU is that it cuts the cost of transportation that students will have to pay out of pocket, because Georgetown is pretty inaccessible. You have to walk 30 minutes to get there from some random metro station, and then also the amount of time it takes out of somebody's day to go take an Urdu class at GW is just unnecessary when you can offer it here, and then also just provide more educational opportunities, in duality. Does anyone else want to maybe talk about some other stuff on here?
Yes, Senator Jackie.
As someone who is Persian, and we do have a pretty large Persian community compared to other schools, a lot of us do feel that it would have been so beneficial to have Farsi on this campus instead of people having to take Arabic, which is very different. But wanting to have a focus on the Middle East, that's what a lot of people have had to do. Or even I just know a few people who have to go to George Washington and take the metro, and it takes a lot of time. So I do really support this bill. I know that we've had Farsi in the past, and it's really benefited other students. I think that this would be great to consider and pass.
One last thing as well, there are students who, some of these classes were actually offered at American University, and then randomly one year they decided to cut the funding, so students had to quickly switch their majors. So imagine if you were a Greek major or a Persian language minor or whatever. So automatically, randomly, when you decide to become, go into your junior year, that course is no longer applicable or accessible at American University, and so now you have to completely change your course plan. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really not that much to just ask the school to give us more diverse opportunities in regards to courses that students should be taking at an academic institution, you know?
All right, thank you. Questions for the sponsors? Senator Adams.
How would you feel about adding other disciplines like Latin or something like that?
Oh yeah, no, that'd be awesome. We can totally revise it.
Senator Polinsky.
So I'm totally in favor with the idea and spirit of the bill, of the resolution. I just want to go back to a point that I think Secretary Schneider brought up before, and it was just about worries about investment and expansion of the university and the costs. And I am not an administrator. I don't know our finances that well, but it sounds like you want to expand the number of faculty and also just the language department in a whole, which I could see as a large expense. And if we are going to be cutting tuition or creating a tuition fix, I worry that there might be a possibility that we can't pay for this expansion. So I'm just wondering if you could address that, and if you've met with anybody or are thinking about meeting with anybody about these possible concerns.
That's a really fair point. Does anyone know what SIS's ranking is worldwide? I think we're
Nine.
We're above Columbia. We're supposed to be one of the greatest international service, international studies. I don't even know what SIS is, I'm an SIS major. In America. So if you go to American University and you are an SIS major, know that you are in a higher ranked college than Columbia. With that being said, you lack basic courses that this college should be granting you, considering that you're in one of the best colleges for SIS, right? So right now the courses that we have for Eurocentric classes outnumber the world studies courses. Did everyone even know that? We have more courses in Eurocentric, just Europe, than Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, barely anything. Our Arab World Studies major, which I'm double majoring in, has 2 classes. Everyone else is an adjunct professor, and you know how much they make? Probably the same salary as a high school teacher. So I'm not, an expert, but this is definitely something to look into and to talk about. And if it can't get done, at least we rose attention to it. We lose nothing passing it.
Can I also say?
Senator Morrow.
Director, you and her. Are we allowed to make amendments in this reading, or what is the process for like amendments?
Yeah, resolutions only have 1 reading, so after questioning them, we'll move right into debate. So amendments are entertained. Yes.
Would you be opposed to adding American Sign? Do it as a language? Okay, that'd be awesome.
Question, Senator Zitzman.
The same vein. We have Chinese classes right now. They're very popular, but for some reason, there's not a Chinese major. So same question, would you be receptive to, even though we have Chinese classes, to advocate for a major program?
Let's do it.
Other questions for the sponsors? Senator Kenna.
In the vein of Senator Polinsky's question about how this affects the expenses on the university, my understanding of our programs in conjunction with Georgetown and GW is that an AU student can attend a language class there that we don't offer here, and then part of their tuition to AU then goes to GW or Georgetown. And so my question would be, what are your thoughts on, instead of having a student go there to take a class there, AU works with those other universities to share faculty part-time so that we could offer the class here without the transportation costs?
I think we can do that. I know that so I'm double majoring in Middle Eastern Studies, and both of my professors, Sarah Omar is a adjunct professor at Georgetown, and then Siraj Asi is also a professor at George Mason. I think they do that. I would believe so. It's a part of the consortium of courses.
Time has elapsed for questioning.
Motion to extend questioning to 5 more minutes.
There's a motion to extend questioning by 5 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay.
Can I also comment on that? So when we did have Farsi here, there's a professor from now Georgetown who taught it, and then when Farsi was kicked off, she moved to Georgetown. And so what we were told, at least my friend Nikki, who's also in Senate, told me was that through the course registrar, if you want to petition for a class, you basically just have to have 25 people sign up and say that they'd take it, and then a professor who's willing to teach it. You just have to get them to sign on. And so like, that Georgetown professor has said that, like, she'd be willing to do that if it was brought back. So like I think this would just be a great way to show the registrar that like we care, and like it's just kind of like a movement to show that USG supports that. So yeah, that's my comment.
Senator Depa.
So I understand, especially with like Chinese and especially with the languages, usually they are usually overlooked by the College of Arts and Sciences and also in conjunction with SIS. And I know the big problem with SIS, especially for my college, is that SIS, it's not really that they don't want to teach classes, it's really the space up for professors themselves, because we are, especially for SIS, that new SIS building was meant to house all of SIS as a whole, but as of right now, we still do not have enough room for professors and office space for professors themselves. So I was just wondering how would we be able to provide that space for professors for these new classes, or if you've discussed that with anyone.
Out of like.
It's
limited,
not.
Yeah, no, like out of the limited like knowledge I have on spacing, I would assume that since not everyone teaches at the same time, you could create a calendar of when different courses would be available, and then there's some online courses.
Yeah, I want to clarify. It's not really the place of where students will be teaching. It's the actual professor's office time and office space. That's what the real problem is, and that they don't have space for the professors to actually house them on campus. That's why
I really actually have no idea.
All right, Senator Howard.
Just information-wise, I don't know if this helps, but I'm a Chinese minor, and I've never had any classes in SIS, and there's always, each Chinese teacher has their own office room, except for two that share the same level. So I don't know if spacing, I know spacing is an issue in SIS, but I don't know if it's an issue between all of
Vice President Self.
That's a clarification of that question. Languages fall under CAS, not SIS. So like the SAS, just by SAS, but that's just not pertinent to like the actual school with language fall under just CAS. And then secondly, would you be able to add in Kahili to this list as well?
Yes.
We do now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was back in my day.
Other questions? Senator Mejia.
I'm just curious why these are languages in general, and if there's like thoughts on policy of if there are other languages that a large swath of like students were interested in, a policy of bringing that on other than this.
I think if this gets referred to Sophia Pintar and my committee on diversity, equity, inclusion, everyone show up because some ideas and sort them. These were just some languages that we didn't offer. The students had to like go to Georgetown or George Washington, right? This is totally up to like edits and everything. Yeah, super down.
Secretary Schneider.
Just to clarify, what languages do we offer right now?
I just have a list.
I don't have the knowledge for that.
Chinese, Hebrew, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Swahili, and that's it.
I didn't have that.
Based off of the
Other questions for the sponsor? Senator Beaton.
I also really like the spirit of this, and it's important. I'm curious if we have any way to measure the needs of the student body that are not currently like being measured, because it because I think that would be interesting in a broader like kind of, is there a way we can get a feel of what the student body needs academically? Because it sounds like there are other issues people have been touching on, like of academic programs that are not offered that maybe should be. So I'm curious, like if some sort of survey or something where we can get like real numbers, because I think if we had, if we could show the administration, hey, we actually have like what, I don't know, 150 students would be really interested in having a major in XYZ. So that might be something to consider, just putting real numbers to this, because it makes sense financially, honestly, for the university to send 15 students to Georgetown if they only have 15 students who like need some random language, but it doesn't makes sense for them to do it if like we can show them that, hey, you might actually have a lot more than, a few people who can use the consortium.
Questioning has elapsed. Senator Zitzman.
So I would like to make an amendment in the second resolve clause.
Nice. Is there a motion?
Just point of order.
Yes.
Because I think this is gonna go to the committee we're on, so we could probably like amend the committee as well. So.
Okay, if that is moved, it's just, I assume it goes through the standard procedure as one reading, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to like, if you wanted to go ahead, I was just like, yeah.
Okay. Is that a point of inquiry?
I guess, it's a resolution, so it wouldn't go to committee.
Right now, we're going to move right into debate and discussion to adopt this resolution.
Someone can motion.
Someone can move to refer it if they choose.
Whatever you start debate first.
Senate, well, unless there's a point to make or a motion. Senator Mejia. Decorum, senators.
Motion to extend the question and answer period for 5 minutes.
Okay, there's a motion to extend the question and answer period by 5 minutes. Is there do you have another motion?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Motion to refer this for a second reading to the Committee on Diversity and Inclusion.
Can I say something too much on this?
Well, they have to go to debate, but this one.
I can't accept that motion because Senator Mejia takes precedence.
Can we vote on it second?
What?
Takes precedence, so if that fails.
No, we just.
Okay, so if there's no other motion, there's a motion to extend by 5 minutes for the questioning. Is there a second? Hearing none.
Can I just table that motion?
Just withdraw it?
Sure, that's the one.
Okay.
Withdraw it.
Okay, the motion's withdrawn. Other motions or points on the floor. Senator Pintar.
Go ahead.
Secretary Schneider, can you do it?
Before we refer this to committee, I just wanted to, in case I'm not able to make it to committee, my roommate from freshman and sophomore year is an Arabic major, and apparently the Arabic program is very messed up here in El Tornado. So I would also urge you to consider looking into that and potentially having like a fix to the Arabic program.
Okay, motions or points, Senator Pintar.
I move to send this resolution to the Committee on Diversity, Equity, and
Okay, so there's a motion to refer to the Special Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seeing a second. This one's debatable. Are there points for or against referring this to the committee?
No.
Okay, seeing none, we will move to vote. All those in favor of moving or referring the resolution to the Special Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, this is referred. Moving on to the next agenda item, the clerk will read the legislation by name and title.
Resolution 17-18-12, a resolution to applaud Taylor Dobson.
Would the sponsors like to speak on the resolution?
I think that you all have the resolution. It's pretty self-explanatory. So really nothing to say. Just we want to highlight the former president and the work that she's done for USG and the betterment of our campus.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the sponsor? Senator Polinsky.
Okay, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna do it because I don't really care. So I'm not sure why President Thompson resigned. She wrote a statement. There are rumors that something else may have gone into why she resigned. Why would we applaud her if those rumors might possibly be true?
Senator Dantzler.
I can answer before President McCovey answers, but the possible rumors had nothing to do with the resolution. It had nothing to do with her work within AUSG. We're simply highlighting her work within AUSG. And so we're not here to discuss those rumors, and we're not here to discuss what was done within or what not in the sorority. This is simply in reference to what she has done as president of AUSG.
Questions for the sponsors? Senator Polinsky.
And I guess this might end up being a statement, but I'll finish it with a question. Just so it's elaborate now. The title of this resolution is a resolution to applaud Taylor Dumpson as president of AUSG. So essentially what we'd be doing if we go ahead and approve this resolution is we'd be saying that she did a great job representing us in AUSG. Nothing against President Dumpson. I don't know what's true or what's not, but I personally don't feel comfortable passing a resolution with questions to her character, complimenting her on how she has represented AUSG at this time because of these rumors. If it comes out that these rumors were not true and that she actually resigned for the reasons that she said she did, I'd be perfectly fine applauding her and saying that she was a great representative. But at this time, I just don't think I can, and I'd like to know your opinion on it, so it is a question.
Would like one of the sponsors, Senator Burgess?
With all due respect, Senator Polinsky, I don't know what your personal vendetta might be against what Taylor Dumpson has done for this community, for this campus, and the lack of you thinking that we should not applaud her for a lot of the things that she did, that she implemented under her term, I just find to be very disrespectful on your part.
Other questions?
Oh, may I also yield my speaking time to him if it's like, or does he just have?
Only to the sponsors.
Okay.
Other questions? Senator Mejia.
Would the sponsors of this bill agree that regardless of whatever may or may not have happened, that home still exists because of President Dumpson, that the achievements that have been completed were completed regardless of what has happened, and that she deserves recognition for what she has done?
I wholeheartedly agree.
I agree.
Other questions? Senator Agdepa.
I was just wondering, well, I'd say that, first of all, I totally agree with Senator Gates that we have to applaud for what Taylor Dumpson has done for our community. It's something that is, well, they are great achievements. But at the same time, I do kind of understand where Senator Polinsky is coming from and where there's cautiousness to what the effects are for HG afterwards. Because if we go I don't think it's what he's trying to say is that we shouldn't applaud Taylor, that we shouldn't say that she didn't do a good job. It's that if we go into it, well, I'm trying to formulate my words, sorry, but it's like, because it's a fine line, but it's like, if we do say that Taylor Dumpson is good without actually trying to ensure that, like, if we haven't like really looked over like what she's done and stuff, like we have to balance it out and saying like she's done good, but some things have happened in a sense. We can't just say wholeheartedly, oh, she's all done this stuff for AUSG, if that makes sense.
Is that a question?
How do you feel?
Is the question okay? There you go. Okay.
I can't really get out, but like it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that this is just questioning, and we will move into debate. Would the sponsors like to respond to that question?
I mean, I think it's just, I don't want to go, we're going to go to debate. So,
okay, any further questions? Senator Koshman.
So, Senator, you seem to understand this situation pretty well, as evidenced by this resolution out here. There seems to be a lot of confusion over the circumstances surrounding the resignation itself. So could you speak specifically on why President Dumpson resigned, just without echoing her statement in particular?
Her resignation is none of my business. She made a statement, and that statement is a statement. Yeah.
Questions regarding the resolution, Senator Beaton.
My question, I just want to mention, I don't think anyone has a personal vendetta or that anyone disagrees with the incredible things that have happened in the last, like I said, in her term. Do the sponsors think that this could reflect poorly on AUSG in light of the controversy? And I'm not taking a position. I don't particularly have one. I'm trying to figure out like how I feel about it. And so I'm just saying, like, do we think that this could reflect poorly on us if further, like, if rumors were to be confirmed, or if like, sorry, you know, I just feel like there's a lot of nobody knows anything except for like a statement that, to be honest, was not as enlightening as maybe some perspective.
Would the sponsor like to respond?
I would say it's not. I understand like the thin line that you're thinking about, but I think what we came to write this resolution is just to kind of like highlight amidst her resignation, just the certain like highlights that she has done throughout her career in student government, and to respond back to what Senator Adepa has said. I think this is more so just like highlighting her work in AUSG and not so much of a resolution applauding her work that she did in the intercollective, whatever the title of council. Yeah.
All right, questioning has elapsed. We will move into a period of debate now. Any points of discussion or debate on the resolution? Senator Najaki.
I feel like if we could find a good middle ground in not making it as much about let's applaud Taylor, but we could say let's applaud the progress made under Johnson's administration. That would be like a great middle ground for everyone, I feel like. So like people are open to amending that.
Yeah.
If you'd like to make that.
Yeah, that's fine. I like that idea.
Senator Koshbin.
I just don't think that this resolution should be considered right now at this moment, especially because there's just so much confusion over exactly what happened. So I personally have no issue with it if it was brought to the floor a month from now once we all have a better idea of what happened. I just think it's too recent and it seems in bad taste. And I personally, just hearing the rumors that have been brought to my attention, I can't in good conscience vote for this without really knowing what happened. So I encourage other senators to take that road and just wait until more information comes out and not consider this right at this moment.
Senator Morrow.
I mean, the biggest debate seems to be whether or not the circumstances of resignation. And I mean, it's not totally unwarranted what's happening. I mean, this is an endorsement by the student body government as to her actions. I mean, like, I wholeheartedly, support this. Like, I know what she's done and I applaud that, and I think that that's something to be applauded. But I mean, I'm thinking again of, this might be kind of intense enough, but the idea of like recently the Senate addressed President Myanmar and rescinding her diploma because that was an endorsement of her actions. And I think that sometimes, I think we have to decide whether or not we want to endorse who she is as a person and what she's done. And I think that that's something that we need to address. And I think that maybe a month from now, this would be a good bill or a resolution to bring up to the floor. But I do think that, I mean, I support this, but I think as a Senate, and I keep hearing this word rumors, like as a Senate, we don't respond to rumors, we respond to facts. And I think that that should be wholeheartedly something that is the very foundation of who we are, because I think that if we start responding to rumors, I've never heard of this. All I know is what she's done, who she is, and how she's been to me. And I think that that's something that we need to focus on as opposed to responding to rumors. I don't really understand the basis of that because we don't respond to rumors as a Senate, so. Senator
Polinsky.
So a couple things. First off, I have no personal vendetta against Taylor Dumpson. I talked to her maybe personally once. What I do know is that these rumors, first off, I didn't even bring up anything about Greek life or anything. I specifically worded my questioning because I wanted to hear what other people knew, and that was brought up. So there clearly is, it's not this very big rumor. It's something on campus that is a presence and is known. The second thing is, while these rumors might not matter to some senators, they do matter to our constituents. During this live broadcast, I got a message from one of my constituents thanking me on behalf of representing him and basically saying that he doesn't support this kind of behavior and he hopes that the AUSG would not support this kind of behavior. I do think this is an endorsement and a move not to endorse this kind of behavior, but to endorse somebody who may have this sort of behavior. I know I'm provoking things and I don't really care. I have absolutely no idea what's true or what's not. And I would really consider, or would hope that we would consider tabling this for the future until the facts have come out about what may or may not have happened, because then we can actually vote on a resolution. And honestly, at that point, once we know the facts, I'd like to make an even longer list, because I think Taylor Dumpson did a great job as president. Just at this time, I think it's going to create too much scandal, and people are going to look from the outside and say, oh, the Senate endorses somebody who may have done this. It's going to look bad as a body, and it's just going to continue to play into this kind of idea that the Senate and just SG in general is just house of cards, and it's just going to continue to act like that. Why don't we table it, continue to work on bills and resolutions that are actually making a difference instead of congratulating someone who may or may not have questionable character?
Senator Hakami.
So rumors have it that a Fox News commentator is looking for Hillary Clinton in the woods. Do you guys want to talk about that? Guys, come on, let's focus on all the issues at hand. Clearly, we have home, we have MGC locked. There's commendable work. If people are questioning rumors, they should be focusing on studies. We are all students. We have more important things to be doing than dwelling on somebody's private life, who is a human being, guys. What is this? Celebrity? I don't even know, E-News? Who cares? Regardless of whether or not you like her, she's a human being who's probably in a lot of distress. And there's a shit ton, there's a lot of stuff right now that we're supposed to be talking about, and we're fixated on somebody's private life. Same thing with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Who cares? He's a publicly elected official who's supposed to be doing his job. Really none of my business, none of any of our businesses. Everyone go back doing what you normally do. Whatever she did will be settled with whoever else is in charge of that department of whatever. I don't even know. I don't care. I want fixed tuition. I want to get more diverse faculty members on campus. I want to make sure that kids know what course textbooks to be getting for cheaper. None of our freaking business. Everyone move on. Let this poor human being deal with her own mental health. And I don't know. But yeah, there's a Fox News host looking for Hillary Clinton in the woods, guys. Let's talk about that later.
Senator Pintar.
Thank you, Senator Kwame. And I want to say, I do, for 90% of that sentiment, I wholeheartedly agree. I think there's definitely better things we can be working on right now. And I don't have any interest in Taylor Dumpson's private life. The only thing I would say is that it's not just about rumors, period. It's about what those rumors pertain to. And I will say I'm not gonna start the naming of it, but hazing on college campuses is so serious. And we always hear a story of 1 or 2 students a year die of hazing, and that's that's real life. And there was, last semester we had a big organization that we had heard rumors. Those were rumors until they became true, and it was dangerous. And I think that this can be tabled, and I think that we just need. It's none of our business, and we need to let the university deal with it how they feel. And until then, I just think we should just stay out of a period, no bills, period.
Senator Mejia.
This is a motion to amend the title, instead of saying a resolution to applaud Taylor Dumpson as president of ASG, would say a resolution to applaud Taylor Dumpson's achievements as president of ASG.
So Taylor Dumpson's achievements as president of ASG? Is that it? Okay. There's a motion to amend. Is there a second? Second. There's a second. Discussion on this amendment, which is in yellow. Senator Zitzman.
May I direct a question to Senators Purchase and Dantzler?
Would you yield for a question?
Sure.
Okay.
So this can apply germane to the amendment or to the bill in general, but would you two be receptive to tabling it and coming back to it later, or is it your intention to pass it in this meeting?
I can speak. I think it's the intention to pass it now. I think that, yes, I hear the thoughts of tabling. However, my question is, when will be the perfect time? Next week, something, the week after that, something else. I feel like if we continue to just wait and continue to table it, then one, we get sidetracked on the achievements that we're talking about now, and two, it isn't as pertinent because it will be old news. And so I feel like we're just trying to recognize her in this time and place. What's done is done, and we're just focusing on the achievements. I feel like tabling it just carried out the conversation much longer, and also who's to say that there will be more news to come or anything to come.
Debate or discussion on what's in yellow. Senator Morrow.
I mean, I think the biggest thing I'm hearing is that this is like the people that have issues with this resolution is that they feel it's an endorsement of her character, and her character has like yet to be revealed. So I think that, I mean, no one debates the achievements that she's had, but I think no one also debates the administration's achievements as a whole. And I think I heard something over there that I think everyone can come to a middle ground on, like, is the idea of applauding her administration in her achievements as opposed to applauding, I suppose, the person, but rather the institution that she's created and kind of the people who she's created under, I guess. So I don't know if anyone's like amenable to that as an administration, because I think that's a common middle ground that we can find. I mean, regardless if you agree with one side or the other, I think that's something. And if they want to pass it now, I think sure, like you wrote it, you should pass it now if you want to. But I think that we all have to have a compromise, and that's probably the best compromise we can come up with.
Senator Koshman.
So I think senators today have been sugarcoating this situation a little bit. So allow me to enter a few concrete facts.
Senator, please keep your comments to the amendment.
It is pertinent to the amendment.
Okay.
First, former President Thompson was suspended by her national sorority chapter. That is an undeniable fact. Second, as chair of the Committee on Accessibility, Transparency, and Accountability, I have received a multitude of anonymous complaints from students regarding these allegations pertinent to hazing. That is also an undeniable fact. You can ask any member of my committee. So, I don't understand the purpose of amending this, because whether or not this amendment clarifies that we are simply trying to congratulate her achievements, it is an implicit endorsement or a tacit acceptance of whatever these concrete facts may lead to. And I just don't understand why we're even discussing this or why this was even brought to the floor, because of the ambiguity surrounding this situation. So I urge senators to fail not only this amendment, but this resolution in general, and just move on to actually talking about substantive things.
Senator Martin.
Just a small thing, achievements, it's IE.
Is it? It didn't tell me otherwise, so that's cool. Thank you. Senator Hakami.
This human being is literally gone from this organization. There's really no point in looking into her life anymore. All of this conversation would be super valid if she was still here. Like, to an extent as well, because we're not the board, we're not the administration.
Does this pertain to the amendment?
Yeah, it does. And I will somehow connect it with this kind of great thought. But she's not here. She's gone. Who fucking cares? Sorry. Who cares where she is right now? She's doing her own thing, and she's recuperating from a lot of stuff. Obviously, whatever these rumors are probably affecting people. Really, that's not what we're talking about right now. I do also urge that maybe, or suggest that maybe if in order to settle some dispute, this type of resolution can be noted for most people, whenever they leave office, but I'm pretty sure that still happens. All they're doing is just saying that this person has left, they're clearly hurting, and these are some cool achievements that they've done, and it's impacted communities of color on campus, and it's made students feel more safe at nighttime when they're walking around. Nobody cares right now what Taylor Dunston's personality is. Really, it doesn't matter. She's not in USG anymore. Hold investigations aside. Let this human being be a private citizen.
Senator Najafi.
Can I make a motion to amend the amendment?
Yes.
Can it say a resolution to applaud the progress made under AUSG President Taylor Dunston's administration?
To applaud the progress of
progress made under the administration of AUSG President Taylor Dunston.
Okay. So you're striking that, and then all of this.
Speaker, I don't think this is germane to the amendment being considered. Because it's a completely different amendment.
No.
It eliminates the First Amendment.
It's a different amendment.
I am going to rule that it is because the progress and achievement could be, I would assume, are similar enough to allow this amendment to be considered. It's just the wording is different. Okay. This is the new amendment currently. Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Okay. Discussion on what is in blue. Senator Beaton.
Okay, I move to vote on this amendment so that we can actually talk about the issue at hand, and then we can, if we all decide that we do want to figure this out, then we can change the wording. But I think the larger issue here is whether people agree or disagree on the entire thing, and I think making minor changes to the wording is going to come later. But it sounds like the debate we should still be having is is this something that we support?
Is that a motion?
Yeah, so I move to vote on
Okay, there's a motion to vote.
Second.
So, okay, there's a second. All those in favor of closing debate and moving to vote, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, now we're voting what's in blue. All those in favor, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay. So now that's gone. Now we're back to this amendment, which was underneath. Any current discussion on this one? Senator Polinsky.
I'd like a motion to table the resolution until.
It's still in. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so on the amendment, okay.
Senator Martin.
Motion to vote on the amendment.
Okay, there's a second. All those in favor of closing debate and moving to vote on the amendment, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed, say nay. All of those in favor of adopting what is in yellow, say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, now we're back to the resolution as a whole. Senator O'Connor.
So we've had plenty of people throughout history in positions of power that may or may not have had questionable moral character or integrity. I think ultimately when you're looking at a political figure like Taylor Dumpson or whether any president or representative, you really have to look at what they ultimately contributed to the communities that they represent or to the organization that they're working for. And I think that's what, now especially, that's what this resolution does. And I think it's pretty obvious that Taylor Dumpson made history, not only at the school, but nationally. And that she has done a lot for the school. In addition to that, she has actually achieved substantive things. I think at this point, this resolution is fine. We should pass it.
Senator Zitzman.
I would just note, not in support or opposition to the resolution. I have my own opinions, but I am almost certain that none of us are going to change our minds on the bill, or the resolution rather. So I would encourage, but not yet move, because I don't want to limit debate, that we just go to vote on this, because I don't think any more discussion is going to be productive.
Is that a point of inquiry?
Well, I wanted to motion to send it to a committee, so do I wait till after?
No, you can make the motion.
Okay, can I make a motion to send it to what committee? Student life?
What is it, Kate?
You make that motion.
Okay, campus and student life.
Okay. There's a motion to refer the resolution to the Standing Committee on Campus and Student Life. Is there a second?
Second.
I hear a second. This motion is debatable. Points for or against referring this to committee? Senator Zitzman.
So first of all, this does not have to do with campus and student life. That is about what's the pod and wellness. This is not that. It has to do with student government, but I don't think it has to do with accountability, transparency, and the rest of the functions of the oversight committee. I don't think that this belongs in any of the purviews of the committees as described in their establishment in the legislative order. And I don't think that, again, like, I'm trying to imagine this committee meeting where people are going to say, is this an endorsement of an ambiguous personal character that we don't know all the facts yet, or is this about concrete achievements like home and Rocky and GC? I don't think that is going to be resolved in committee. We're just going to be spinning our wheels again instead on Sunday afternoon, on Thursday night. So again, I would urge the committee not to send this to committee and just vote on it today. I don't know whether it's going to pass or not, but we're just going to have to deal with it.
Other points on whether or not to refer this to committee? Senator Polinsky.
As the chair of the committee that this could potentially go to, I would just like to reassure everyone, I know I've come out against it, but I will make sure that in committee I am very non-biased in either way when we do go and debate this and review this. So if you, I hope you have full faith in me if you do choose to vote this to committee, because I'm gonna leave my personal opinion aside when we're actually debating this.
Senator Agdepa?
Yeah, and I'd just like to comment on that the sponsors of the resolution will be also in that committee, and so it will be pretty.
Senator Legitimacy.
As the vice chair of the committee that this would go to, I don't think this has anything to do with our personal opinions. I really just don't think it should go to that committee because, like someone said, that committee focuses on dining and the pod. I don't really necessarily think this should go to committee at all. Like Senator Zitzman said, I don't think that there's much that's going to happen in committee that's going to change how a lot of us feel about this resolution right now in this moment. So this isn't a motion, but I think we should either table it or, do vote on it today, just do something.
Senator Hakami.
Guys, we have this really important resolution afterwards that talks about the open textbook network. We're spending a lot of time talking about this one resolution that just says, do you like home or not? Do you like NPC being locked or not? Please let's allocate our time towards matters that are affecting student lives. I don't have any opinion on, my opinion really doesn't matter on what I think about President Taylor Dumpson because she's no longer president and this is none of our business. Please let's talk about things that actually affect people. Please.
Secretary.
Can I withdraw my motion?
Okay. Motion is withdrawn.
Can I make another motion? Can I make a motion, Trevor?
What's the motion?
I'd like to motion to table this for at least 2 meetings until we can hear more about the subject of the resolution. So that's 2 meetings.
Quick question.
Point of inquiry?
More like a statement. No.
No.
Ask a question on the reason of the 2 meetings. Is that
No.
no?
It is not debatable. So there is a motion to table this resolution for how long?
2 meetings.
2 meetings. 2 Senate meetings?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a motion to table the resolution for 2 Senate meetings. Is there a second?
Second.
I heard a second. All those in favor of tabling the resolution for 2 meetings, say yay.
Yeah.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay. Division.
There's division. All those in favor, unless there's a motion to vote otherwise. All those in favor of tabling, Senator Burgess?
Am I allowed to motion for a roll call vote?
Yes, you are.
Can I motion for a roll call vote?
There's a motion to vote by roll call. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second.
What does the book say, Trevor?
Okay, so the motion is to vote by roll call, which Yes. Point of order. Point of inquiry. Yeah.
So guys,
Decorum. Thank you.
I just consulted with a nationally registered parliamentarian, and I believe this motion is debatable.
That's what I think I just came across that.
Okay.
Let me double check. Decorum senators. We're gonna get through this. There's a motion to vote by roll call, and there's a second. Points in favor or against voting by roll call. Secretary Schneider.
I would just say I largely agree with the sentiments of Senator Zitzman. Like, I don't know, but just because you are dealing with rumors, like, I don't know what, like, by setting a specific time limit, like, it's just a lot of questions surrounding that. So I think, again, like, I don't think people's opinions should necessarily change in 2 weeks. What if we come back in 2 weeks and things are exactly the same? Are you going to table it again? I would just keep that in mind. It's going to be different. Continue.
Points for or against voting by roll call. Senator Kenna.
Just the reason that one would motion for a roll call vote is to get senators on the record regarding their position, and senators' position regarding whether or not they want to table this is not important to me, and that's why I would be against that motion.
Okay. Senator Mejia. Okay. Other points for or against voting by roll call to table the resolution. Senator Martin.
Motion to vote.
Okay. All those in favor of closing debate to vote on roll call say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. Okay. All of those in favor of voting by roll call say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay.
Yay.
In the opinion of the chair, the nays have it. So now we are back to, now we're just voting on tabling the resolution. So since division was called still, I will call for hands. All those in favor of tabling the resolution for 2 meetings, raise your hand. Like literally raise your hand, please. Thank you. All right, all those opposed. This motion fails because it required a 2/3. So we are back to the consideration of the resolution. Discussion on the resolution. Senator Mejia.
So there were facts presented, and sure, those facts are valid as it pertains to President Taylor Dunston. But this resolution now no longer is a question on Taylor Dunston's character. It is a question on the achievements made by Dunston. It says so clearly in the title. The title, though, is saying specifically the progress made. So this is now no longer a question about Taylor herself. It is a question about the progress that was made, and it's clearly implied right there in the title. So, yes, there are facts, yes, there are rumors. Why do they matter? It should be achievements, the literal achievements, because this is no longer about Taylor herself.
Senator Zitzman.
I move to close debate and vote by hands.
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor of closing debate and moving to vote on the resolution say yay.
Yay. Point of order. He said vote by hands.
Yeah.
To vote to close debate or to vote on the resolution?
Close debate on the resolution and vote with our hands on the resolution.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
Okay.
this doesn't require it. So again, all those in favor of closing debate say yay.
Yay.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, in the opinion of the chair, the yeas have it, so debate is closed. Now, based on the motion, we will vote by hands. All those in favor of adopting the resolution, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Come on, don't be scared. I need to see them. Okay, with a vote of 9 to 11, this resolution fails. Okay. Moving, any other new business? All right, seeing none, we'll move to old business. The clerk will read the legislation by name and title.
Bill 17-18-008, a bill to reform and expand case.
Will the sponsor like to speak on the bill?
Yes, and first, goodbye to all the people like today.
For those of you leaving, would you just let Bobby, be a little polite, just let Bobby talk. He's very polite, he wouldn't say himself.
All right, well, anyway, we've got a little bit, there's different levels of familiarity that people have with this bill. And with a lot of people, as a sponsor, I've been getting pretty far into the weeds about how it works. But for this section, before we consider it for the second reading, I'll just go over a big bird's eye view that this does a couple of things that I think are really important. The first, I think the most impressive change is that it establishes an office that helps students through financial aid appeals and things of that nature. And I was talking to Joyce, it was either yesterday or some other day, and what she told me is that if that action is not unprecedented, it is a very close to unprecedented that we have students helping students get better financial aid. And also, this organizes case in such a way that case advocates who work there right now have told me that it will streamline their work very effectively and ensure that efficiency is clear from one transition of case administration to the other, so that progress that has been made in case for the past 2 years is not just faded away because of poor memory or whatever other actions. So those are the big points, and I hope that we can pass this.
All right, questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we'll move into discussion. Any points of debate or discussion on the bill? Seeing none, we will move to vote. All those in favor of adopting Bill 17-18-008, a bill to reform and expand case, say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. All right. Moving on to the last agenda item, the clerk will read the legislation by name and title.
Resolution 17-18-009, a resolution to have American University faculty inform students to use open textbooks.
All right, well, we already discussed this during committee. Everyone's familiar with it. You're just going to get more information about free resources on campus to be using for classes. It's been revised. Just trust and go forward. Everyone has it in front of you. I hope everyone had read this beforehand. I don't want to extend this meeting on any longer.
Questions? Questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we'll move to discussion. Any points of debate or discussion on the resolution? All right, seeing none, we will move to vote on the resolution. All those in favor of adopting resolution 17-18-009, say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. This resolution is adopted. Decorum, almost done. All right, that takes care of that. Moving to appear to public comment. Any of the members of the public wishing to speak? Well, you could speak during go to the order if you wanted to, but do you want to speak now? Okay. Members of the public. All right, seeing none, moving to the good of the order. Executive good of the order, President Machovic.
You wonder why Taylor resigned? She was subject to personal attacks on the first day that she took office by white supremacists. Then she was personally hounded by neo-Nazis. and then by members of this very body and members of this organization this past semester. If you wonder why Taylor left, why would she have stayed if none of you can look in her face and tell her that you cannot commend her work as president of this organization? Many of you may not like Taylor, her achievements, that she has created space where there has not been for students of color on this campus, but I am disappointed and upset that you could do this to her, which is not even in this room, and be that cowardly. She has dedicated her time to AUSG, and despite every single roadblock that was put in her way by people at this university, in this room, people outside of this university, white supremacists with no name, for her to even have done that and continue to have done that is incredible. And many of you may not believe that. Many of you have no problem with personally attacking someone when they're not in the room, or giving hearsay to, giving any merit to rumors that you may have heard about someone that you may have only talked to once, even if that. But I do not, because part of me, because I know Taylor, and partially because my mom raised me to know that when people spread rumors, you do your work and you mind your business.
Other executive good of the order. All right, moving to senator good of the order. Any senators for the good of the order? Senator Polinsky.
So I'd just like to address a couple things. First off, once again, no personal vendetta against anybody. In a couple weeks, when I know more about what's going on, I'd like to reintroduce a resolution. This is why I moved to table in the first place, because I didn't want to have to vote on it today when emotions are so high on both sides. And I also felt like it was thrown at us because I hadn't even seen the resolution until I got an email to me during this CRP meeting. And so I just felt like this was thrown at me. I had no time to think about it. I would like to table it. So I'm going to address this similarly in a resolution coming up. But like at this time, it was just thrown at us. I do think that President Dumpson faced a lot of adversity. She did an excellent job, and I like this all on the record, which is why I'm saying now, not behind closed doors. I think, if anyone's listening, I think she did an awesome job, faced a lot of adversity, created home, which is amazing. Like, I can't even begin to say what a great job she's done and how much rep she's given SG. But at the same time, I have to address my constituents, and my constituents would not like me to implicitly endorse someone who may or may not have done something. So when I find out more, I will give her the proper congratulations that she deserves, because she put in a lot of work. This is a full-time job, and whatever her stipend is, did not cover half of what she deserved. So it's nothing against her. It's the fact that we can't, as a body, do something that endorses someone that may have done something. So when I know the facts, that's when I'll be able to properly give her endorsement and congratulations.
Other senator good of the order. Senator Hakami.
Do you know what the title of the resolution is? So Sophia, can you please read the title of the resolution?
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. This is good of the order.
Okay, well, I will read the title of the resolution. Okay, so I don't take out my laptop. But it's something about applauding the progress of the work that Taylor Dumpson has done, not applauding Taylor Dumpson. This is not controversial. This is about somebody who has served in student government. Her personality, her private matters are outside that door. That's really none of our businesses. We're all 18 and up. You know, this is a grown-ups club, okay? If you don't utilize Hub because we're not, I don't know, a minority, like, then you probably can't sympathize with people who probably like it. If you're not, you know, a woman or a member of a community that has been targeted and you like MVC being locked, please don't talk because it doesn't apply to you. If you're not somebody who hasn't, you know, if you just don't respect like the office of somebody in that position doing stuff that is not harming anyone, don't talk. Dude, it's literally about somebody in a position doing their job. She's gone. She's no longer in student government. Her rumors don't apply to any of us. I'm not even personally her friend. So, like, not that I would, you know, that also sounds very bad. It's not about that, you know. It's about, like, the fact that I don't know her personally, so I can't comment on her life. And people are watching. That's the student body watching us, right? Do you think they care right now about some sort of scandal? Are we a reality TV show or are we a student government? Is it in our purview to be commenting on a private citizen now? Are we J-board? We need to know our limitations. And this resolution is probably as controversial as thanking the RHA. Thanks, RHA. See, was that controversial? Was that controversial? Did I just question Sam Rogers' history? Like, do I care about what you did in middle school? No. And that's not my business. That's not my business, you know? We can be friends, we can be cordial, but over here, this is a legitimate body that serves students, and they're probably more concerned about their tuition than some random private citizen's life right now. This could be valid, could be, if we were in a situation of impeachment, but we're not. It's over, okay? Like, a special election is happening in 30 days. Please, everyone, start writing legislation. We're gonna be back next Sunday. Tune in again to E! News.
Other good of the order, Senator Beaton.
I just have a couple things. First, I want to apologize for not being as active as I should be. I wasn't here last week. I'm just currently having work issues. I work on Sundays, and so this week I had off, but I'm trying to figure it out. As far as the kind of what I mentioned at the very end of the last, a couple times ago when I spoke, I think having some sort of survey for students to fill out, where we get real feedback from our constituents, the whole campus, both on academics, but also on just kind of what they're experiencing, and just giving them a place where they can kind of answer in a box, and we can kind of analyze that and see what keeps. I think that's something that could be really valuable for all of us, especially in getting the nuance of issues. So I think that's something that I would love to work on and look into if anybody's interested in doing stuff like that, and kind of how we would do it, because that would probably be something for OIT or something on the IAE page to make it accessible to everyone. I'm just going to touch on the Taylor Dunston thing. I think that regardless of how you feel about it, I think it's really important that we do two things. We hold ourselves to kind of a higher, not necessarily higher, but to a place where we are having really good, lively debate about things, and we don't make this personal on either side. I think it's really hard, and I can tell there are a lot of people who feel really strongly about this. Because we are all here to do this together, and we want to maintain that kind of that ability. And the only other thing is, I think it's important to understand that I don't necessarily agree that this is something that is super private and should never be touched on. Hazing happens; it's a really big problem, and I'm not saying that it did happen. I'm just saying that we as SG need to recognize that that's a real problem, and that's not something that we should hold everyone to the exact same standard out of that. But I think it might be a different conversation if it wasn't Taylor Dunston. I think we might not be having a conversation about that. So not to undercut any of her achievements or to say that here's they should run this body, but I think it would reflect really poorly on us if things came out.
Vice President Self.
This is Senate, good to I came in here and I guess I didn't say, but I think that there's a few things. I think that part of all of our jobs as elected officials is to understand the point of view of other people who are not us. We are elected people who are not us, and so even within this room, understanding people's perspectives, understanding where they're coming from, I think is really important. And if part really compromise is in fact compromise, then there's really in all of our jobs, that's the point of our jobs. I think that for us, my feelings on this bill, or it said that we really need to just kind of take a deep breath and realize that at the end of the day, our personal feelings should not be the ones that kind of determine our way forward. That there are things that are undeniably true. Home exists, residency is locked, And at some point, I think that we should recognize those achievements, whoever we attribute them to personally or as a group. Is different things, but at the end of the day, these are achievements that I think should be recognized. I think that at some point, I hope the Senate revisits the spirit of what this bill or what resolution outlined and covered, because those are achievements that I think that Washington will benefit from. And then the SP's job is to benefit the student body, and that is what was done in part during this time. So I hope that we can revisit this with cooler heads and maybe a more focused kind of attempt.
Senator Nayar.
So I'd like to echo some of what you just said. I think sometimes we forget as individuals we have so much power. Nothing is stopping anybody from this room to reaching out to people that they look up to and letting them know that they did a fantastic job. It's like never unwanted or unwarranted to tell somebody that they're doing a great job. So just remember you have that power as an individual as well.
Senator Morrow.
Can I just, this entire meeting was, before we got to that one resolution, can I just say that I'm impressed with what we're trying to do and trying to achieve in this body, especially Senator Kami. I mean, these are things that I have thought of, and I'm impressed that she put it down on paper, and I would love to continue working on that. It's just, but in addressing that resolution, I don't appreciate, in regards to what you know or what people have come up to you to address, these are rumors, and it bothers me that people are saying these words and saying President Dumpston or former President Dumpston's name in the same sentence, because there are a multitude of reasons as to why someone would be suspended from sorority, would resign, and nobody really knows the answer. And by saying these rumors, you're perpetuating them and you're solidifying them. And that's, I don't think, the purview or the responsibility of senators to do so. I think we need to focus on things such as Senator Kami has said. And I think that it's the administration, and nobody's debating the achievements that the administration has had. If anything, I would love for it to have been continued, and I hope it does continue under the interim president. So I just want to say that I think that sometimes we get caught up in these very specific points, but we need to recognize that at the end of the day, we're people, and people need to work together to have these things, because these are achievements. The President Dumpston's administration has made such great grounds in everything, and I think that that's something that's really impressive and should be applauded. And I encourage anyone to have a resolution next meeting of debating this, because I think we need to have a debate on this.
Other Senator Pintar.
Thank you.
All right, Senator Koshman.
Yeah, just about the whole debate on this resolution. I think, as Vice President Self mentioned, that we all just need to take a step back and realize that at the end of the day, we are all just a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds, and we don't need to be getting overly emotional about this. And I do apologize if it seems like I have some sort of personal slant. I truly gave my opinions in the most emotionally detached way that I could, because I truly have no personal stake in this. I am obviously very grateful for the work that Taylor Dumpston has done, being a member of two minority groups on campus, being Persian and being Jewish, that two groups that have come under a lot of fire and have been under attack, to put it frankly, in the past year. I'm really thankful to the stand that she's taken, and I feel for that. I know it sucks. It really does suck. Seeing the racially charged attacks on campus and in DC and just just in our country recently. But literally the only reason that I have an issue with this is that I think we have to recognize that any official statement or resolution that comes out of the Senate, whether or not it is an endorsement or an acceptance of someone, it is going to be perceived as a tacit endorsement or acceptance of things that may or may not be true. And obviously there are rumors, and I'm not one to take rumors at face value, but all I say is I'd be happy if this resolution came up in a week or 2 weeks, not even if any new information came out, but just so we can all just kind of calm down and have cooler heads, so to speak, because we all are obviously really shocked by this, and we're all under a lot of stress for a variety of reasons. And so I'd be happy if this came up and whatever, I'd be happy to debate it again.
Other senators for the good of the order. Senator Pintar.
Thank you. It's been said, I don't want to say the same thing again, because I really do want to commend all the things that have happened this year, and I would in no way little what President Dumpston has gone through, and I think that obviously she deserves like all the justice in the world for that. I would just say the only reason, just to like make it clear, that the only reason I was ever hesitant is just because like I think that when these accusations came out, she was president, and that's not a private citizen at that time. You are like a leader, and you're a leader of the campus as well. And it is serious, and hazing doesn't just differentiate, it affects the people that are subject to it. And I actually had a friend from high school, he was hospitalized and almost died from hazing, had to go home, and never have like a sip of alcohol ever again from it. And that's just like my personal experience from it, and I know that like shouldn't happen these things, and I just want to say that it's not like a selfie, or it's not something that is like a personal life, and I would be so happy to like have a similar resolution like this again soon, because I really do like women, which is.
Other words for good of the order? Dr. Mascaro?
I just wanted to say briefly to thank all the senators for passing the legislation you did for Senator Zitzman, and to personally thank Bobby, Senator Zitzman, for the work that he's done. It means a lot to me to see so many of you spend a lot of time on this bill. I never anticipated having an opportunity to work with the senators in this way, and I really admire it. And most importantly, there are ideas that Bobby came up with that I would have never been able to come up with on my own, and now it's going to make all of us a lot better off because of it. So I hope that it serves as a testament to the fact that there's a lot of opportunities for all of us to work together. And it sounds cheesy, but I mean it, even in my like monotone, like cold voice, that it really was nice. It was a nice thing to see happen, and I appreciate it so much. And lastly, I just did want to say thank you to Christine for taking on a position that you were not supposed to take. I think it's the epitome of selflessness to do something this massive when you're not supposed to have to ever do it. So I think that's important to recognize too.
Other good of the order. All right, I have some final words. One, I want everyone to put both of their feet on the floor. Yes, like put your feet on the floor. Close your eyes. Now breathe in through your nose. Now exhale. Do it again. And exhale. Okay. Release the tension. We had good debate today. Some people's emotions, there's a lot of emotional things going on. There are a lot of ideas and concerns in this room that you have to realize. You have to respect everyone's own opinions and everyone's own concerns. Everyone views the situation differently. The goal now, regardless of what you think, is to continue moving forward and representing the people in which you are elected for. You have constituents to fight. You have constituents to represent. There are plenty of ideas that you guys have already passed that we can continue moving forward. And I bet there are plenty of ideas that are coming down the line in legislation soon enough. I want to see more legislation. I want to see more research. I want to see more ideas and collaborate with one another. You guys are in this position through at least October. There's plenty of time to get things done yourself, And our focus right now is to, one, maintain the stability of student government, because this was unseen. And two, if you are still pushing forward with your legislation and your ideas and representing your constituents, you're going to still show what we are here for, what AUSG stands for, all right? So hopefully y'all go to your office hours this week. If I don't even see 80% of you sign in that sheet, I will not be as happy next week. Remember, you can do roaming office hours. Talk to me if you guys have ideas, if you want to pursue anything else. We're going to be pursuing a lot of this legislation already. Besides that, enjoy your week of school. And if there's no other business, this meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, what's up? Have you seen like the rush I've essentially anything. I literally do not own a headshot. Like, I don't have one. I know you get one. No, because I couldn't do it because I want to here. And I came in with Chris Snyder, and I couldn't do it. I was running demonstration. I thought everything was fine, and I'm always with them. That's the same thing with office hours. I haven't had this week because I've been shifting my schedule. And because the free time I do have in between my things, I've been having ASAP meetings and meetings with my counselor and therapist and talking with my parents about staying here and all that good stuff. So I just haven't had time. The first 2 weeks, and I'm sort of trying to figure out how to stay in school and not get kicked off. So yeah, but I want to say, I do know that I haven't turned in stuff for you. I do want to turn it into you. I literally don't want a headshot. And like, I'm so sorry about that. But like,
you're good. You either if you want to get someone to just take a photo of you and then send it, it doesn't have to be like an actual student government one. Or if you want to reach out to Chris and get the photographer to set up a time with you, she would be more like that's her job, so she'd be more than willing to do it. So, I mean, like, it's not like dire on my part. So, yeah, but it's just like
I just wanted to tell you too because I know that like I'm terrible at communicating. It's like, God, you should have asked my parents. They're like that. I literally had my dad threaten to shut off my cell phone like roughly once a month forever because I just am terrible at communicating. So that's why like I wanted to just like, oh, sorry.
You're good.
I just wanted to say like